Hey everyone, William Mears here. Hopefully everybody can see me okay. Sorry, I got to look at this screen. Happy to be here. Welcome to the Ring Ads live stream for April 14th. And I'm excited because we've got a lot of good stuff to cover today. Going to update you on some exciting things that are coming and things that you can prepare for if you haven't already. My research tells me that most of the time when I give instructions or things to do, there's always some things at least that haven't been completed yet. So I'm going to stress the importance of getting that done this week. This is definitely the time to do it because come Friday, this Friday, we're in for some big surprises and changes that I'll tell you about today. So I'm not going to hold that over you. But 1 second, let me... all right. Here we are. So, looks like we got some people on. Very good. Let me make sure everybody can hear me okay. Let's start with that. Looks like people can hear me. I think. Just let me know in the comments that you can hear me. Tell me where you're tuning in from, and that'll be a good way for me to know that you can hear me, and also I can know where you're tuning in from while we're all in quarantine, right? All of a sudden that becomes a little bit more, not important, but a little bit more attention has been paid to stuff like that because everybody is now kind of stuck at home or at least stuck in their country, depending on where you're at and how severe the lockdowns are or shutdowns. I mean, they call it shutdown, I call it lockdown. I mean, it's you know, it's pretty serious out there right now in the world. The good news is, like I covered on the last session, the business world is specifically for pay-per-call has never been better. It's really something to see that, and we're gonna all of us take advantage of that very very soon here, starting this Friday. So cool. Everybody can awesome. San Jose, LA. Ooh, LA. You guys just LA County just got extended to May 15th, I heard. That was a few days ago. So, and I'm in Vegas, so who knows when this thing's going to end. I would say sooner the better, but obviously we don't want to go back too soon, right? I think that's now the question that pretty much everybody in the world is asking, definitely in the U.S. for sure. But a lot of countries are kind of in that boat. So do what you can, be safe, and yeah, continue on, right? Business as usual, because I'll tell you right now, business is really good and only getting better. So let's see, New York. Jeff, you're in New York? I didn't know that. Man, you and Elaine must... I mean, well, depending on if you're in the city or not. I mean, New York, don't get me wrong, New York in general is not doing well, but I heard, at least your governor over there is talking, you know, it's approaching the peak, if not have already hit it, which is a good sign. I mean, lot of tragic stuff going on in New York, so I feel for you guys. Stay safe out there, okay? South Africa. Wow, that's a good hike. I don't know if you guys are in shutdown or not. I know Africa has several cases actually across pretty much, I think, most of the countries. And I know there was an outbreak. Gosh, what country was that? It wasn't South Africa. It was I can't remember. Anyway, I look at the world meters and stuff like that on a daily just to kind of know where we're at and see how things are going. Long Island, okay, that's not too terrible, I would say. I mean, still not great, but Long Island's a fair bit off the mark from Manhattan there, so you know, where everybody's on top of each other. So glad to hear you're not actually in the city. That's good to know. All right, cool. So everybody can hear me okay. That's good. Yes, I'm growing the beard out. I trimmed it up the other day recently, and I'm going to be growing that out, I guess. I don't know. Call it my quarantine beard or whatever. I did not participate last year in No Shave November, so I think I'll just do that now. Is basically what I'm doing. Figure if I can't cut my hair and I'm going to look like shit anyway, then I might as well look like shit with a beard. complete the look, if you will. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Extension of 2 weeks from 21-day lockdown. Ouch. Well, I mean, lockdown's probably, couple of months. I mean, to play it safe, or safer, I should say. I mean, we've been on, in the U.S., we've been on lockdown since what? I mean, every state's different, but pretty much on lockdown. Like, national state of emergency was declared, what, middle of March? Like 13th or something like that, almost a month ago. So, and we're still not, in some places, at the peak. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Got a lot of good stuff to cover. And like I said, on the business side, that's where your focus needs to be, because things are blowing up. And the better your business is, the better decisions and better time and better money you're going to have and be able to make going forward, right? Use this as the opportunity, not the reason why you're not doing something, right? Okay. Never been a better time. Never been a better time. I'm going to jump over to a screen here. There we go. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. Ring Ads live stream April 14th. And what we're going to cover today, let me click over to the screen. There we go. We have the challenge that I was telling you about. We're going to cover that. I'm calling it the COVID Client Challenge. Nice little alliteration there, but keep it nice and simple so that we know what to call this thing. Triple C for short if you want, that's fine, but COVID Client Challenge. Because, and I'll cover the details of that here in a second, but the reason I decided to name it COVID Client Challenge is because a lot of people look at COVID and think the worst, and I happen to look at it and see the silver lining, I guess is the best way to say it, because it's not a great thing. Don't get me wrong. On a world scale and on a personal health side, it's very tragic in a lot of cases. However, it has presented us with those of us who are here and wondering what's coming next instead of living in that uncertainty. The reason I'm calling it the challenge, I mean, there's tons of challenges out there. So challenge is kind of a used word, but at the same time, this challenge is very special because a lot of people, for some reason, mindset-wise, think COVID's not the time to go after clients. And I'm challenging that. In fact, it's quite the opposite. This is the time to go and do that. Then we're going to talk about the 3 simple rules to master success, talk about software training access, and we're going to look at the Facebook group live stream support, next steps you can do right now. All right, and then I've got Zoom pulled up, or I will at that point, but want to pull up a Zoom, and if anybody wants to come on live, ask some questions. You can always ask questions in the comments too. Don't feel like you have to come on live or anything. If you want to, though, and want to chat with my overgrown hair and beard, that's fine. If you can stand to see my face on a Zoom, then I can stand to answer your questions, whatever you got. So yeah, we'll do the live, and then we'll have comments are always open for you to ask questions. I may not get to them till towards the end, but I will get to them. Okay, let me come back to my face. I know you don't necessarily have to see that all the time, but instead of just staring at a screen all day, recently I've spent actually the last, all day yesterday into the night actually, so I may look a little tired today, but I spent a large part of my day yesterday switching over from my powerhouse MacBook to my backup MacBook, and it's almost as good. It's not quite as good on the RAM. I think after I had to update the software, I had to migrate everything over, and it was because I have issues with the battery. It actually expanded out like I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a cell phone or a tablet, like when the battery goes bad, it expands with that gas or whatever, and it just totally deforms the device. I had that happen with my good MacBook, I should say. Not that there's any bad ones or anything, but this one's a little bit less powerful, but it runs. I mean, it's just fine, nice and easy, all the Mac stores or all the Apple stores are closed down right now because of the shutdown. So I'm not able to send that in. They don't even have mail-in support right now for devices and repair because they completely shut down, not just the retail stores. So kind of have to wait to send that in. The battery expanded out so much. I think it's put pressure on the processor. It's overheating it, and the battery life is just not there. Obviously, because it's expanded. It's expanded so much it actually bent the. Thank God for AppleCare. They're going to replace all that, I'm sure, because I pay for it. But the bottom, I don't know if you guys know what a MacBook looks like. Some of you, but basically it's an enclosed unit, and it's got little tiny screws. It is bent around. That lid has bent out so much from that expansion of the battery that it's bent around, little indents around each screw. And you can see, if you hold the laptop up, and you can actually see through this, like this there's a hole where there's not supposed to be, and the lid doesn't close on top. It's crazy. Very much a defective battery. Either that or I wore the piss out of it. Could be. That's plausible. But I look at that as defective because I've been much harder on machines than that, and it sits on a stand, upright, vertical, out of the way, never dropped. You know what I mean? Like very well taken care of in that sense. Air, all around it. Shouldn't be doing that, right? Anyway, long story short, I spent a lot of my day yesterday dealing with that. The good news is I'm now on the backup. I decided to, instead of running 4 monitors, I wanted to try running 2 monitors to see what that looks like in terms of, so I'm running these 2 instead of all 4. But I wanted to see what that looks like in terms of power usage, so I'm going to be monitoring that a little bit today. And for the live streams, because obviously we've got the COVID client challenge coming up, and I'm going to be on a live stream every day. So that's going to be kind of important to have for you to be able to view me with a good internet connection, which that's locked down. I got gigabit internet, no issues there. But also to be able to manage the screen, because remember, I'm condensing down to 2 screens as opposed to 4. So there's certain things in different places for me to have to get a little more used to. So you may have to also get used to me not looking at the camera as much. I've been trying to make a better habit of doing that when I'm on camera. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Life has challenges. You got to figure a way to overcome them, deal with them, do the things that, like, if you guys think I wanted to change over to another MacBook, y'all are crazy. Y'all are out of your mind, because I have too much to do. I'm sure, well, if you're in this business and you're doing it well, you should have too much to do too. And that's not a bad thing. It's just I don't like affording downtime for stuff like that. I keep pointing over there because that's where my MacBook sits. But I just don't like spending downtime on that. But it was necessary, so I made sure all my files were backed up, migrated everything over, and so now we're cruising again. I don't think, keep in mind, I don't think I'm gonna have any battery issues or anything like that. And if I do, don't worry, I've got a 3rd MacBook. Believe it or not, exactly the same as the one I've currently got. So if I got to burn through them, I'll burn through them, and I got AppleCare on all of them. I'll get them fixed up, no big deal. Assuming we come out of this lockdown here at the end of the month, it'd be nice to be able to do that if we're not rushing it. Anyway, let me come back to the screen here. Let's talk about the COVID challenge. The COVID challenge is, how do I say this? I say it's special because a lot of people talk about challenges or have challenges. They call them different things. Sometimes 7-day challenge, 14-day challenge, 30-day challenge. And I'm not dissing anybody that comes out with a challenge, but let's face it, it's a little bit overused. The difference here is that it's during a time of what most people would consider great uncertainty. And so, oh, hold on a second. Checking the comments here. Okay, see, don't want to seem uncaring. Could you please stick to the point and include less of a backstory in these meetings? Yeah, I can. I will do that. I'll just I'll breeze right through. And this is for Julian. So, COVID client challenge. Here's the deal. 7 days. We're going to start April 17th, Friday, and that's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every day, ending Thursday, April 23rd. We're going to do live streams here in the Ring Ads Facebook group, and recordings will be made available after the sessions are done inside the group, as well as the Ring Ads training area. Okay. Keeping everything short, right? Over the shoulder, rapid start. Step by step, zero to clients. Follow along each day on the tasks. We're going to be doing a follow-up series with Q&A from you guys. Probably something like a Zoom and comments, similar to what we do on these live streams, but specifically about the COVID client challenge. Okay. And again, that's going to be after the challenge is complete. Feel free to ask questions along the way. Just understand that most of your questions are going to be answered at the Q&A. It just keeps me focused, keeps me doing what I need to be doing. Whether you understand it or not right away is not as important, because if you just do what you need to do and what you see and follow the bouncing dot, you'll be fine. Okay. 3 simple rules to massive success. All right. Only follow the training provided. Work at this consistently. Use support for any issue. I cover this every session. I do this all the time. You know, I had somebody else recently say, why do you cover this every time? And the reason I cover this every time, these points every time, is because people miss these in many, many different ways, right? Very, very important that that you know you understand. I guess the best way to describe it or say it is, a lot of people think they may be, in a lot of cases, a lot of people think they may be following these, and they're not. And here's the thing, it's not that I want to control your life or run your business. I just want to see you succeed at this. And this is what I know creates that success if you do these things right here, okay? Software training access, we're working on some updates that are coming with the 7-day challenge starting on Friday. And of course, if you have questions, I have plenty of time afterwards. I'm just keeping this nice and short, as short as I can. Software and training access. We have some software updates. Keep in mind, we're going to be doing the challenge starting on Friday, so there's some things I'm working on getting up to date, such as Prime and Mirror, the Google Ads API. There's a few other things too, some updates that have come in from the dev team that I want to test, finalize, make live, and create some training videos for this week. So that's my goal, and to get that done this week, and then Friday we go, right? Friday we go. So that's software training access. Ring Ads Facebook group, you guys know the deal. We keep it negative free, right? Like we do our best there, and there's I'm a little bit behind on some of the posts, and I just approved a bunch of members I know that have been pending for a little while. Again, been working on a lot of stuff, been pretty busy. No excuse, just want you to know where my time has been spent. I guess that's why I gave the story earlier. Anyway, keep in mind, the group is really great for engagement, for asking questions, not just from myself or from a staff, but from other people, right, that are on this journey with you. It's all about sharing those progress and wins, and of course accessing things like live streams, the COVID challenge, all that kind of stuff, right? Very helpful. Live streams, you guys know the deal. We're always going to have training topics to cover. We'll always cover them first without interruption. End of each stream, we'll have an Ask Me Anything. And of course, using these, when you have more engagement with us via support, which again, still working on catching up on that too. Got a lot going on, right? But when you engage with us, whether it's support, whether it's a live streams, coming on a live call, commenting, asking questions, whatever it is, posting your progress, the better and faster your results are going to be, because there's kind of an unspoken accountability. Even though I'm not keeping tabs on you in a way where I'm tracking you and you're tracking your every movement. I'm not one of those alphabet agencies or anything, but it helps because you know where you're at, and the reason I know you know where you're at is because you're posting about it, right? And that makes a big difference. Support, you guys know the deal. Support, the support channel is mostly used for things like software usage, any kind of bugs or file errors, things like that. The live streams and Facebook group, that's for the business model, basically everything non-software, ad campaigns, client acquisition, everything non-software. And there's 5 different ways to reach our support, including this live stream. Right? Next steps, as always. The reason I'm showing these again, I've showed these a few different the last few sessions. The reason I'm doing that is because most people on this call, almost guarantee you, I know my audience, let's say it that way. Most people on this call do not have every single thing on here done, or done to the level that needs to be done. And you're going to learn very quickly here come Friday what it looks like and what it actually takes, which is good, because that gives you some perspective on, I'll come back to that, but just come to the camera so I'm not just talking to a screen, so you're looking at a screen. It's good to know. It's good to know what it takes, and if you have these things in place, you're going to be able to, I wouldn't say jumpstart, but definitely keep up. Like most of you will be able to keep up, and those of you that can't keep up, that's okay, because guess what? It's recorded, it's posted in the group, and also posted in the Ring Ads training area inside the software. So it'll always be there for you to pick up where you left off, right? Or catch up, however you want to do it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself if you can't get it done in 7 days. I've seen people take 2 days to do stuff like this. We're spreading it out to 7 because I feel like it gives most people enough time to, if they actually dedicate themselves knowing what's coming this Friday, for example, they can make plans and build out what they need to build out over the weekend, and make calls as I make calls, or make calls the following week. And that gives you like a whole week and a half of nothing but setup and prep, watching me do the phone calls and then going and repeating the same thing, right? So I figured that was a pretty good model. Plus 7 days, I mean, if it takes us, if I gave us 14 days to do it, it'd take us 14 days to do it. I'm not saying there won't be any kind of like follow-up series. Obviously there will be, on Q&A and things like that, and for those of you in Prime, I'll be sure to keep updating over the shoulder and all that for the campaigns and clients that are running. So you're going to get plenty of that, no doubt. But these things are very important to set up, because like I said, you'll be able to run, right? You'll be able to run and make things happen, not necessarily exactly with the bouncing dot, but you may be 1 or 2 steps behind the bouncing dot, and that's totally okay, because you know what the next 2 steps are. And sometimes people get caught up on either overcomplicating, which can happen. We're going to address that in the 7-day challenge for sure. Mostly, guys, you're just going to see me work. It's just going to be me jamming. And not just jamming on the computer, but jamming on the phone. I'm going to do my best to just tell you what's on my mind and tell you where my mind goes, I guess is the best way to do it, because that kind of documents the journey of how I do things, I guess is the best way to say that. Anyway, I'm going to look at comments real quick and open up Zoom, since that's what we have for the day. Let me host a meeting here real quick. Sorry, just looking at the screen. I know the camera's there, but I gotta look at the screen to be able to do this. As soon as I can get this up and going, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post. Let's see, join with computer audio, multi-output, Bose headset, very good. And so that's good. Let me grab the invite thing real quick here. Invite, copy. I'm going to minimize that. Fix that out. All right, I'm going to post this in the comments here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, why did I move that there? There we go. And I'm going to pin that at the top. So there's a Zoom link that you can join. It'll put you in a waiting room, and then I'll add you in. And ask away, I guess. I've got my headset on because that's how it's going to link to the Zoom side so people can hear me, and then everybody's going to be able to hear you on the Zoom through the live stream. Kind of weird how I have that set, but I won't say weird. Different. Definitely different. Let's see. Let's see if I can... Is the Zoom set up? The Zoom is not set up. Let me do that real quick. See if I can get... Nope, that's not it. Is that it? Nope, that's not it either. Working on it. Huh, that's weird. Let me try again. And I'm going to go through the comments here in just a second as well. Just need a minute. Trying to get the Zoom deal loaded up here. Why is that not showing? I think maybe it's not showing because nobody's in yet. Maybe that's what the deal is. I'll just have to wait on that. I'll wait on that, no big deal. All right, let me go to the comments here real quick and take a look, see what we got. Hey guys, don't dog Julian too bad. I mean, in a way, he's right. You know, if some people just don't have the tolerance or patience to hear the learning lessons or the stories that that go with the day-to-day. That's pretty much what the challenge is going to be while I'm working, though. So if that's not your thing, it's probably not a good idea to tune in on the challenge in that case. Or tune in after it's recorded and just play it on 2x or whatever so that I sound like a chipmunk. I'm totally okay with that. I set all of the replays inside of Ring Ads in the software, the training area. I set all those to be able to do that, so you can fast forward as fast as you like through anything that I talk about. I will say this, guys. I don't share, at least in my mind, I do my best not to speak unless I've got something of value to share. And usually it's of great value. So I guess my lesson that I was trying to explain there, it was a couple fold there, twofold or threefold there. I had to change out a computer, which shows the challenges of life right in the middle of something. Like, I could be saying, stupid COVID, I can't get my computer fixed and this and that. No, I just shifted gears, did something I did not want to do or felt like I didn't have any time to do, and did it anyway because it's important to make sure that we have backups, that things are running correctly. See, we're at 100% on the battery. Computer fan's not kicked on too hard. I think we're good to go. Just got to, course correct on those kind of challenges and mindset. I'm also showing you my mindset, telling you, hey, this is not what I wanted to be doing with my day yesterday. I had plenty of other shit to work on, but that's what I ended up working on. Why I prioritized that, I guess another lesson would be, just oh, we got somebody here. Anyway, you get the idea. There's multiple reasons why I shared that story. I also shared it with you so you know what I'm doing with my time, be a little more accountable, right? That's important. At least to me, it's important. It should be important to you as well, because you're going to see, on the 7-day challenge how much of a difference that makes. But yeah, I mean, some people don't like hearing my story. Some people don't even like hearing my voice or seeing my face. That's why I joke about it all the time. I don't care. I don't care if you like me or not. All I care is that you succeed in the business. So you can like me, love me, hate me, curse my name. Obviously not in the group. That's not welcome, because we're trying to keep that a positive environment. You can curse me all you want. Like, if you want to curse me out in support, I've been called every name under the sun, and then some, privately, publicly, you name it. And I could give two shits about that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have any impact whatsoever on the task in hand, or what the objectives are. And the objective here at Ring Ads is to help you succeed in building your own agency, and not just building it, but scaling it, doing it well. And with that comes a lot of life lessons and business lessons that you don't necessarily have to listen to. Like right now, we're done with the session technically. We're just doing Q&A, and I'm going to let people in here into the Zoom so we can talk. But yeah, it's to each their own, right? To each their own. I get it. All set up. Just need the Google API video. All right then. Question. Eric's got a question. Any problems starting and keeping AdWords accounts? I'm hearing several people are getting their accounts closed for apparently random reasons. Are you experiencing similar news? Thoughts? Yeah, that's a great question. Last year, I call it early last year, like about this time last year, March, somewhere in there, several months after the first the big update came for Google Ads, there were a lot of account suspensions. And what's interesting about them, it's like Google has this flag for payment details. A lot of people were getting flagged for their banks not accepting, when they loaded a card, it got flagged in Google's system as a fraudulent account or something like that. And a lot of people don't know that you need to fight to have to get your account reinstated, because they do say in the email that it's indefinite. You're not getting it back. Don't try to create another one. And trying to create another one, by the way, is a huge mistake. Never do that. Never, ever, ever do that. Because then it definitely, in Google's mind, they see that. They see it in ways you can't comprehend. Way beyond, even if you're a tech guy, they've got some spooky stuff, okay? To know that you're trying to create multiple accounts. So definitely don't do that. That's against their terms, by the way. Instead, appeal and appeal and appeal and appeal. Right now, COVID's going on. Less people are at the desk. It's going to be a little bit longer of a process, but I've seen the time where someone got their account back in 2-3 days, appealing every day. I've seen the time where, sorry about that, phone. I've seen the time where people, it took 2 months to get their account back, but all they did was kept talking to people, kept reaching out through support, through their chat function on Google Ads, through the phone number if they had it available. Right now, I think all they have is email. I don't even think they have chat available. I could be wrong on that. Depends on your account, probably. But the point is, I've seen people go through that process. Matter of fact, I got a support ticket from somebody. Gosh, what was that? Maybe January. It might have been in January, I think. Which means, and only about a month ago, maybe a little less, this person finally, like I told him, let's keep this ticket open and just update me. Let me know how it's going, but say this, say that, tell them what you're trying to do. The usual stuff. Everything I've taught you guys and will continue to teach you guys how to say, what to say to get your account reinstated. And the guy got his account back because he was a legitimate advertiser. He's not trying to do anything black hat or have multiple accounts like that. Now you can have multiple ad accounts, but if you get suspended from one, it's not a good idea to go and create another one after that, because they look at that as circumvention. That's what they call it, and that's not a good idea. That said, yeah, I have seen a problem with that. It's still kind of there. Not as bad as it was last year, for sure, but definitely there. And I feel like as long as you're a legitimate advertiser, you're going to get your account reinstated if it ever becomes shut down like that. As long as you're adhering to their terms, doing what they smile upon and not what they frown upon, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Let's see. Backups. Yes, sir. That's exactly right. Guy says he's in there. Okay, yeah, I got you guys in the waiting room. I'll let you in here in just a minute. Andrew, hi William. So glad to be in the group at last. Yes, had a few pending members there. Still working on catching up on some stuff. What I would recommend you do is go back through some of the last few streams. Prepare as much as possible for with what you have for this Friday. So welcome, and I think that's it on the comments or questions. If you do have questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. Right now, I'm gonna throw the headset on and add in. Not sure who this is, and then it looks like Julian wants to come in. Add you guys in here real quick. All right, let's see. So if you guys, if Julian and Gaetano, if you turn on your audio, I think somebody's got their audio on. Hello? Hello, hello. Oh, Julian went on mute. And I've got, I'm hoping I'm saying this right. I'm probably not. Oh, Gaetano, it looks like you've got your audio turned on, but I don't hear you. Wow, that sounds really, really weird. Hello? I don't know if everybody else is hearing that or not, but it sounds very sluggish. It's like distorted. Let me see here. Yeah, I can hear you. I just I can't understand it. I think I understood that though. I know that sounds weird, but it sounds very very weird. It's the best way I can describe it. I'm also seeing if I can. That is so weird. I wonder why the audio is like that. See, I've got a few other people coming into the meeting here. And see how their audio comes out. Maybe it's my headset. Maybe I need to turn that off. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Let's see if I can get this thing fixed right here. I'm gonna stop video. Who do we got on? Let's see if I can get the audio going here. Yeah, it's still, the audio's still not right. That's so weird. And it's not, you know what's interesting is it's not showing. The audio is not showing on the other side, on the Facebook side either, which is interesting. Let's see. Trying to get the mic set right. Nope, that's not going to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I can hear people. It's just, and here's the thing though, it's not showing up on the stream either. So I don't know if everybody else is going to be able to hear or not. I'm thinking what I'm going to do if it's okay with everybody, is I can hear that, but I don't understand what that is. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to end the live stream on Facebook, but I'm going to keep the Zoom window open. And if you want to join there, and I'm sure you guys can hear me okay, I just can't understand you. I'm thinking maybe it's because of something to do with bandwidth or just the audio settings. It's something I'm going to need to work on. Maybe it was from the migration, is what I'm thinking, from the other MacBook to this one. So let me end the live stream on Facebook. So if you're listening to this on Facebook, I'm ending the live stream. I'm going to be on the Zoom for a little while. It looks like there's several people in here, so I'll be answering some questions there. And I'll see about recording that as well, and then just kind of piecing that with the live stream so that it's a continuous recording. And I'll do that now. So let me, I'm going to end this stream. Let me see if I can do that real quick.
And I've sold SEO and stuff and never made a real success of it. And just I really want to do the call only. I joined CallZoo just before you did whatever happened, and
right.
And I'm trying to find out like what kind of verticals to go for in the current Corona crisis, etc.
The ones that have the let's say continued success, no real drop off, if anything, even an increase, would be the ones with high urgency and want and need.
Okay.
Anything that somebody absolutely has to have, think toilet paper. So seriously, if somebody needs it, for example, HVAC or pest control, right? Towing, water damage, you name it. Even things like personal injury attorney, divorce attorney. Like you laugh, but the biggest thing that's probably going to come out of COVID, other than us coming out of COVID, would be a baby boom, no joke, and high divorce rate, 100%. Like, so those are, I mean, when you look at that, it's like baby boom. Well, what do parents used to be getting for their children all the time? They used to do this all the time, especially when I was a kid, is life insurance. And life insurance is definitely, with something like this going on, reminds people maybe more than they're comfortable with. But it's definitely a boom, right? It's definitely a boom.
Can I ask you something else? I'm starting out with financially challenged, shall we say. I do 2 commission-only sales jobs, both of which I can't do. And looking at some of the cost per click on some of the keywords, even like plumbers at like, $25, $30. But the only thing I could see that seemed to be that I wouldn't burn through money at a rate of knots was vets, which I saw in your Ring Ads mirror, and sort of handyman and appliance services. What's your thoughts on those verticals from getting started from a cost point of view?
Handyman's going to be pretty good. Appliance repair is going to be pretty good, cost effective wise. More call volume, lower cost per call than something like plumbers. Plumbers is not necessarily $25, $30 a click, by the way. I mean, you can work your way up to that, but you can drive phone calls for plumbers without having to spend that much. You can spend a little bit less than that to start. But I would say something like appliance repair handyman would be your better options based on what you gave me, the information you just gave me. Veterinarians, a little bit higher end. Think more along the plumber line. Probably not the best place to start.
What about, damn it, I don't know if I've done my keyword research, but dentists seem to have 1.2 million searches a month and showed a relatively cheap click cost from what I can see compared to some other verticals like lawyers and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you get really into the market for dentists, yeah, you can do very well with that. There's documented case studies, not just from myself, but from other people that have gone after dentists, or even actual dental firms out there, third-party case studies that display far more effectiveness with call-only type ads than just regular ads that they were already running. So yeah, dentists is a pretty good vertical. As far as costs, I mean, keep in mind you're using the ad spend from your clients to generate those results starting out. But it's safer to err on the side of caution unless you're willing to aggressively expand, I guess is the best way to say that. If you're going to go after that client blitz, I hear my video in the background. If somebody wants to mute that, maybe, or I can just mute you. Let me see who that is. Who is it that's got their audio on? Mute. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah. Had to mute somebody. Sorry. It's nothing personal. Just had to mute so I could concentrate. The dental field is definitely good. It's just your clicks can bleed away, though. I will say that. Like if you look at what they do, like dentists usually aren't just dentists, not the successful ones anyway. There's some that are even that specialize in emergency dental, which would be, I mean, think about it. It doesn't matter if the world is shut down or not. If you have an emergency dental situation, you have an emergency dental situation. And so that's probably where I would focus if that's the vertical you're going to go after. That's where I would start.
And can I ask, the other thing I wanted to ask is, like in terms of acquiring the clients, going after dentists, you've got gatekeepers, receptionists, etc. to get past. Do you think it's better doing like a handyman where you can get straight through to a contractor? Because I got I've got a merchant account. I've got no problem using your script, where can we send the calls, just closing them and going through it. I've listened to lots and loads of your training in the other program before, and
I'm sorry you lost me. Can you repeat the question?
I'm just thinking about the route to market. If I'm doing like tons of voice drops, like 500 a day or something, should I go for like maybe a handyman where I can get straight through to a contractor on his mobile, and I've got a Stripe account where I can just take the money over the phone. I've integrated it with the ring ads in the back end. I'm just thinking because I need to get some paying customers, but I don't. What I have to do is go through corporate compliance and trying to get through to a dentist, where maybe a handyman I can get straight through to on his mobile.
Yeah, blue collar is going to be a lot more approachable in that sense. They're also going to be a little bit more standoffish in certain ways. So especially if they've already used a lead service before, they think they know how lead services work in general, and they think they're a dime a dozen. And normally they're right, which is where communicating the value comes in, and that's something we'll cover definitely on the 7-day challenge. I mean, you're gonna have to see that in order for me to even get to the point of just acquiring clients. I mean, all that's going to have to be worked out. You're going to see me do market research start to finish. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff that's going to happen starting Friday over the next 7 days that you're going to be kind of privy to.
It's starting this Friday, yeah?
Yeah. So we're starting the COVID Client Challenge. I covered it in the recording or in the Facebook stream. And again, the replay will have this recording and the recording for the live stream. They're kind of strung together, but the details of that are covered at the very beginning of that, pretty much the beginning of that stream. Yeah, Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Where are you at? You said you're in the UK, right?
Just outside London.
Just outside London. Okay. Yeah. All right. Very good.
One last question. When would the AdWords Ring Ads Mirror be fully up there? Because that I want to just get that and I'm just gonna.
My goal is to get that up this week. My goal is to get that up this week, along with several other things. And again, that's something I covered on the earlier in the live stream. Sounds like maybe you came in a little bit later, which is fine. But yeah, that's my goal is to get that done this week.
Okay. And one last thing, if I'm doing voice drops, how many would you go for a day? If you're doing like City, how many to get like my phone ringing back? How many would you say to go for dropping a day voice drops?
I go by the hour as opposed to how many drops. I think of it more as quality over quantity. And now that doesn't mean that, if I'm running a 4-hour call day, that does not mean that I'm not running several hundred drops, if not more. Right. Okay. But I tend to do, if I'm doing a drop day, then I do drops. If I'm doing an email day, then I do email, and I do as many as I can to flood that period of time. And anything that trickles in after, I handle, right. But I don't do anything preferably outside of Windows. So for this challenge, just so you guys know, because nobody really asked this yet, and maybe somebody's wanting to ask it, for the challenge that we're doing, the 7-day challenge, We are actually, you know what? Possible for me to turn my video on. I hate looking at a black screen like that. See if everybody can see me. There we go. All right.
Yeah.
For this challenge, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be set up. So think agency website template, market research, payments set up inside of Ring Ads, all the like little adjustments and bells and whistles, if you will. And then Monday is going to be like a lighter day, but not like super light. Probably finish up any market research that hasn't been done yet. Dive into sales script review, and then set up the ringless voicemail voice broadcasting campaigns. And then once I have that done on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be my call and email days. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do ringless voicemail, voice broadcasting, and email. There are many other ways that we can use, but those are the most effective and fastest ways. So you're going to be able to see kind of that whole process. I'll even go in, and when I get a client, not as soon as I get a client, I'm going to do like a 4-hour window probably of getting clients, take a break, eat something, chillax for a second, and then come back on and maybe either in a recording or another live stream, just unannounced as far as time goes, do a client setup, right? Where I go through and I say, okay, this client's onboarded, and here's how I finish the onboarding process. Here's how I load them into Ring Ads. Here's how I load up their ad campaign. You're going to see ad campaign creation. The only thing you're not going to see right out of the gate, and that's just because there's not enough time in a 7-day challenge, is even if we started with a client on day one, there's just not enough time to get a full run of optimization in. So those are things that are going to come later, but also be in the training anyway. So there's not much left to the imagination, if you will, even as far as optimizing the campaigns and making the campaigns profitable as we go, and more profitable as we go. So yeah, there's hopefully that answers some questions about the COVID challenge there.
Definitely 100%. I love that idea of, my head says like drop 750 calls in a day and just wait for the calls to come in and just close them on the phone.
Absolutely. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want you to, I've seen people do stuff like that where they're like, I'm going to do 1,000 or I'm going to do 500 or whatever the number is. And it's like, they call me back and they're like, man, I got 2 clients in today, but I had 50 people that I had to follow up with. And what I've learned in my experience is people are typically not as good on follow-up as they should be. Right. And that's just that's human nature. It's historically true of all humans, including yours truly. I tend to make it more of a point and a focus point, if you will, to have follow-up, because follow-up is where things always move forward and you never have to kind of worry or worry about that. And you always pull as many, if not more, clients in follow-up than you do on the initial run. So I'll give you an example. If you ran 500 voice drops and you pulled 2 clients or 3 clients, you could probably pull 6 in follow-up, if not more, just from follow-up. Like, that's the level of importance on follow-up. I guess a lot of people underestimate that. They're so happy they got their 3 clients, and it's like, that's great, but you could have close to double digits, if you had the follow-up in place. And some of that's automated. I'll show you guys that. Some of it is manual, right? But I'll tell you this, I mean, if every client is worth even just $500 profit per month, you're talking about a $6,000 a year increase for each and every one you get.
Clients, yeah, I wouldn't have to work go back to work at the minute. My overheads are so low right now.
There you go.
Focus 100% of the time. That's literally my plan.
Well, that's a great way to go about it. And it does not really, you should start with, I mean, when you start out in any vertical, you should always go on what I call a client blitz anyway. You'll learn that, and we'll talk about that in the COVID challenge as well. But the idea is, if you have one set of data, it's not unless it's a national client, it's not as enough data to optimize very quickly. And speed is important when you start with a campaign, an ad campaign for calling ads, because the faster things move, in other words, the more data you have, aka the more clients you have giving you that data from those campaigns, the more you're able to optimize, the faster you're able to optimize, which means it's better across the board for all your clients, because you can take one set of optimization and apply it to all of the clients all in one go. And that means client number 6 is going to do much better than your first 5 clients because they're starting out of the gate with all that data and optimization that's been done for the first 5. And that doesn't mean the first 5 are a wash, because keep in mind, you plan to keep doing business with them, right? But what if you broke even on those first 5, right? Over the course of, I don't know, over the course of the first week, you broke even for the first 2 weeks with those 5, but you still went out and got your client acquisition, had your client acquisition on point. You went 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those next 5 are going to do infinitely better than the first 5 did their first week, because they have the experience to draw from on that data from your first 5. So that's why I always say go and blitz. So that's also why I'm doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are the best call days by far. Setting myself up for success. I'm gonna blast out as much as I can and just stay on the phone and follow up. And then at the end of the day, I'll do like a quick video where I'm setting up the clients. And if I've got 3 or 5 to set up, then I just sit there for an hour and a half and set everybody up and good to go. Yeah. So that's pretty much what your day would consist of. Yeah.
One last, is there any particular kind of verticals you think? I mean, if you said to me, Andy, do that, I would just do it. I wouldn't question your choice.
You're in Mirror, right? You have access to Ring Ads Mirror?
I'm gonna get it. If you told me which one to get, I would do it.
Even if you don't have it, here's a cheat sheet. This is for everybody listening. Okay. It's not just me and you on the call. I'm gonna tell you a secret. You ready? All right. So there's a list of verticals on that sales page, right?
Yep.
That's a cheat sheet. That's a cheat sheet. Yeah. I say that because it's like, oh man, didn't you just cost yourself a bunch of money? It's like, yeah, but no, because people will still pay for the convenience, and I'm also going to be adding more campaigns to that, I'm sure. So I'm never going to just like stop adding value. I'm not known for that, and I'm certainly not going to start now. So when the campaigns are made available in Mirror, hopefully this week, that's the goal. There's a list there that you can pull from. Plus, you just asked me a bunch of questions about different verticals and what I thought about them based on where you're at, what you're currently going through, and you kind of have an idea what I was leaning towards more for you, and why. And it's going to be something that's good urgency. Like if an oven goes out, a washer or dryer goes out, for example, and those guys are blue collar. I happen to know a lot of market research on that vertical as well. What you're going to be looking at, cost per call and all that stuff, but you should do that yourself, because that's going to teach you everything you need to know about that market. And if you have questions after you've done the market research, I will definitely engage in a conversation with you on that.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. All right, my man. Good. I've got you guys up on the screen. It's good to see you, man. And welcome. Happy to have you here, bud. All right. Bye for now. Who else we got? William? Oh, wow. Everybody's, yes.
Hi, William.
Hey, it's Eric here.
Hey, Eric.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm gonna apologize because I have 4 kids that I'm homeschooling right now. So I'm
Don't apologize, man.
You may have answered this. I don't know. But
go for it.
I'm asking about the Ring Ads Mirror. I have that.
Yes.
And I know we're supposed to get. I only see CSV files in there. Do we have? Because I have 2 landscapers I'm trying to get set up, and one's been kind of waiting a little while. And then I have an attorney I have to follow up with as well. Or do we have access to that? Where is that at? Or am I missing something?
The campaigns are not uploaded yet. You have access to the CSVs that you're seeing currently are prospect data. So if you give me this week, I'll be able to get not just the campaigns in a format where you can upload them via the editor, but there's going to be training that goes along with that, because I won't say complicated, but let's say this, it's a very specific set of steps in a very specific order. Keep in mind, you could use the AdWords editor to do every change inside of the ads platform, inside of Google Ads. The AdWords editor is that good, and it's been updated. It looks better. It runs better all around. However, we're only going to use it for specific steps the rest of the steps. I want you inside of the platform so that you become more familiar with actually being in the platform as opposed to just the editor. The good news is if you ever get to a point where you have 100, 200 clients to manage and only one person on staff to manage those campaigns, the editor is going to come in handy for that person. But yeah, I would say give me the week so that I can get those campaigns up along with the training. Like I said, it's very specific in the steps and in what order needs to be applied to make that happen. But I will definitely have that up and going for you guys. Yeah. Right now you have the prospect data. That's what's in there in the CSVs.
Okay. And then I saw some note about Friday. What is Friday?
Friday is, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. Friday is the COVID Client Challenge. We're going to do a 7-day client challenge with yours truly. I'm going to be doing over the shoulder, start to finish, 0 to hero, man. That's what we're going to be doing. And then we'll have some follow-up Q&A series at the end of that. Yep.
Okay. And is that on one of the niches in the mirror or no?
Yep.
Or
I'm probably gonna pick one from Mirror just to make it easier. So that way people can't go, well, you didn't pick one from Mirror. That way people, I don't want anybody second guessing or overthinking or questioning how easy this actually can be, if that makes sense. So I'm definitely probably, I say definitely probably, I'm definitely going to be picking one from Mirror. I'm not sure which one it is yet. I've got some prep work I want to do, and I don't want to make it too easy, but I also don't want to make it too difficult. So I got to find something that's kind of like right down the middle. And that way I can explain to people that go after that are going after different verticals or difficult verticals, what that's like. And then people that are going after easier verticals. And keep in mind, every vertical is different. So there's going to be points where I can be like, well, I'm in this vertical, which means blue collar workers, and it's easy to do this and that. But it's difficult on this end for me to do this and that, and explain what kind of verticals that applies to. I'm not going to teach every single vertical while I'm going through the challenge, but it's nice to have those kind of footnotes. I mean, just like you would if in a research book, you notice there's always a crap ton of footnotes inside of a good research book or article, pointing to other resources and information in case that's your focus, right? So yeah, that's what I intend on doing for the challenge. Yeah.
Okay. What time does that start on Friday?
Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So Friday, April 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
There'll be like a registration link probably, right?
Nope. Facebook group. We're going to do a live stream.
All right. Yep. Cool. Thanks, William.
Yep. You're welcome, bud.
Hi, William.
Hello. Is that how do I say your name,
yes.
Man?
Gian.
And you're from South Africa, huh?
Yes, William.
You look good, man. I like the bow tie.
Thanks, man.
I really do. That's nice. Looks good.
Yeah, but we just switched to the camera. If you can see me now.
Tell me what's up.
William. I went through a couple of trainings of yours. It's videos I got from a friend, like from Call Zoom. You see, I went through those trainings and I watched the pay per call success, and I see there's a lot of things that changed during the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I wanted to go after all like home services specifically, but then I saw in the pay per call success that you said one vertical.
Gian, you cut out. You said something about lead services.
So I have I wanted to go after the home services, like as a whole.
Home services. Okay.
But then I saw in the training you said, in the paper calls success, you said we must stick to one vertical. So I have the mirror, but I'm a little bit confused. I'm unsure to go after which vertical. And basically in the same boat as Andy, but basically in the same boat as Andy. And we have been conversing before. We've been anxious to get into the group. So I'm just unsure of what vertical to go after and stick with it. You understand?
I got you. Right now, anything high urgency, want, or need. So think about services that people need, no matter if they're in lockdown or not. Just like people need toilet paper, even if they're in lockdown or not, they got to have that, and they knew that, so they went out and grabbed a bunch of it. I think it was a bit excessive in my opinion, but it's the same concept because if you live where I live, for example, like in Las Vegas, in the summertime, it's not summer yet for us here, but in the summertime it gets to 100 plus degrees in Celsius. That's like 40. You know, do you guys work off of metric, or you guys on the metric
Um,
system? You go off of 40 degrees, or do you go off of Fahrenheit?
yeah, it get cold here sometimes. Very cold
No, I'm
in
saying
winter.
when you
Oh,
how do you guys determine temperature? Is it metric over there?
yeah, yeah,
Celsius? Yeah. So
metric.
40 degrees,
Yeah.
basically. It can get north of 40 degrees easily. And if the HVAC, for example, the air conditioning goes out, that's bad. I don't care if I'm in lockdown or quarantine or whatever. I've got to have my air unit fixed. And you've got to call somebody to do that. Same thing goes for pest control, right? We have, I know you wouldn't think it here in the desert, but there's a lot of bugs here, and they're just different types of bugs, and they still try to come into the house. And you still have to have pest control come out and spray and do their thing, whether you're in lockdown or not. Um, there's services like that, a lot of home services, not just home services though. Again, I'm finding anything high urgency is definitely doing very well right now, if not better than everything else. Even things like in the higher end, like seeking a divorce lawyer. I made a joke about that earlier, but I'm dead serious. I believe out of COVID, we're going to have a baby boom, and we're going to have all-time high divorce rates because people are stuck in the house with each other, and people do one of two things: they either fight or they make love. That's just how it goes, or sleep, right? And hopefully for everybody on this call, you're doing more than that, but like you're working on your agency. But I would say stick with something that's urgent. You've got a cheat sheet on that sales page for the mirror, right? So even if you don't get mirror, you still have the cheat sheet of what are some of the good verticals to go into. I'm going to, in the COVID challenge, that's one of the first things we talk about. I'm going to make my decision. I'm going to record my entire decision-making process on what vertical I picked and why. I'm definitely going to be picking from mirror. I'm probably going to be picking something in home services though from mirror, and I'm probably going to focus on the urgent side or the emergency side. So think if I went, for example, after plumbers, I wouldn't just go after plumbers. I would go after plumbers that provide emergency plumbing. That would be where I start. And would I expand out to regular plumbers? Absolutely, absolutely. But first, I'm going to start with emergency. So I would say stick with those pointers that I just gave Andy. I think that's going to do you well. And I'm glad that you're already talking to Andy. That's actually going to be very helpful because remember what I said earlier in the stream. I don't know if you were watching, but if you want to go back and watch the replay of the actual stream, you'll see where I said engagement is key. Like it helps you stay accountable. Man, I'm proud of you guys. I didn't even know you guys were talking. So that's good because
Yeah.
that keeps you guys accountable and moving forward. That's the right thing to do, man. Couldn't have done it better myself, honestly. So good job.
Because I'm completely new to this, William.
That's okay.
So I tried all that crap of affiliate marketing and CPA, which just didn't work out for me. You see, so last
Okay.
year I got an interest in offline marketing, basically through Offline Sharks. I got in that group, and but I haven't done anything yet until I discovered you. And my interest is actually I want to do pay-per-call, only pay-per-call. But for now, I want to just focus in the US. No, that's where the money is.
That's where I'm not going to
South
say there's
Africa.
not money everywhere else, but it's a bigger pot of honey. I mean, if you're a bear, like an animal, a bear, and you want to eat honey, you go after the biggest pot, right? That's what you go first. And it just makes the most sense. The U.S. has the most smartphone users in that regard. We have the most open market. We are the most spoiled. We always have our phone within 3 feet of us. I mean, you know, I say all of us, 80% plus of us have our phone within 3 feet of us at all times in the U.S. That is, there are times where I have 4. Think about this for a second. I have a MacBook that runs the shit out of 4 screens, and there are still times where my phone is sitting on my desk. I pick it up and go through that instead of my computer. Even though I got 4 screens and an awesome computer, doesn't matter. We're used to using the phone for a lot of that kind of stuff because we've been kind of preconditioned to use it, which is an advantage that, or something that you can take advantage of for sure. And I would start with that because it's the easiest market to break into. We're the most opportunistic. We're the most spoiled. I mean that in a nice way. We always have to have the new phone, almost always. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, that's, and then you look on the client side, right? That's the consumer side. If you look at the client side, your clients need business. And the next best thing you can provide them, short of someone saying, here's my money, is someone on the phone saying, who do I give my money to? That's the absolute next best thing you can give them. Lead generation as a whole is not a bad thing, but you know as well as I do, if you've been in CPA marketing and some of those other things, affiliate marketing, you understand the concept of emailing somebody or getting somebody to click an ad. It's not the same level of interest as a phone call. That is just the absolute top. I mean, short of somebody being in person in their store, which right now, because of COVID, nobody can do. That's something to take note of. It's super important. The phone has become super important, more important than I think ever in our history in the entire world. I really believe that. And that only strengthens our case for what we do and the service that we provide. So you're in the right place, my man, for sure.
Okay. Cool, man. So one last question, William.
Shoot.
If I pick one like a vertical from the cheat sheet and just stick to that, using the mirror campaign, basically, is it just like if I get a client, I just plug and play the campaign and then it runs itself, or?
Yeah, it's going to be copy. Well, it's not going to run itself. You got to keep in mind, you're going to have to do things with the ad campaign. It's copy paste. I will tell you that. It gives you a starting point on a campaign so that as you optimize the campaign, life starts out a hell of a lot easier than it takes a lot of the guesswork. Let's say that, like, you don't have to actually, if you're in Mirror, you don't actually have to know how to create a campaign or be any good at it. Where you have to be good is going to be in the optimization side. That's why I was saying on the COVID challenge, while we may not cover optimization, I'm going to do some follow-up series because I feel like it's important to cover that, make sure that you see that. It's going to be in the training anyway, so you're going to have it in multiple places. And then we also have things like, we have these live streams where you can come on live, and if you want to share your screen and show me your campaign, we'll go through it together. I have no problems doing that for you, my man, or anybody on this call. I have no problems doing that at all.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, William. And I'm also planning to get into the Prime tomorrow.
Okay.
Definitely
cool.
Tomorrow I'm going to get into the Prime. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
all
cool.
Right.
Thanks, William, man. I appreciate it.
Good to have you, man. And you keep talking to Andy and post in the group. Share your success and I say your success, not just clients. As we go along, your setup, your next steps that were posted in the stream here, start working on those and get everything set up. You and Andy can work on that together and probably be fully set up, ready to go before we even start on Friday. All right, my man.
Cool, man. Thanks, William.
You're welcome, bud. I've got a lot of comments here in the Zoom. Yes.
Do I raise my hand?
Hey, there you are. There's the name that I couldn't pronounce. That's another one.
This is Guy for short.
Guy. Hey, Guy.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
That's funny. Hey, Guy.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
You're not the only Guy friend that I have, actually. I have another
I hope
friend
you got
whose
more than
name,
one.
I know, right? I have another friend whose name is actually Guy, believe it or not. Actually, a business partner of mine and friend, yeah. But he goes by Joe, believe it or not.
Oh, man. So, you got to give props to the name.
His legal name is Guy.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
So is
His
mine.
legal name is it really? So his
Yeah.
legal name is Guy. And that's so crazy. I have two guys now that I know that are named Guy. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
there's not too many of us, but hey, I think I just got more of a support question. The
Shoot.
papercallsuccess.com, is that where the training is, or is it inside?
Papercallagencysuccess.com, and you want to do www.
Gotcha. Okay.
www.papercallagencysuccess.com. Inside of there, you're going to find a lot of training,
Okay.
including a couple of downloads, actually a few downloads. There's a part 1 and part 2 guide. There's training for the software, like specifically for the software. The other training hasn't been uploaded yet, but the software training and how to operate the software is inside of Ring Ads itself.
Yeah,
You'll
I got
find
that
there.
part, and that's I was looking below. I was looking below for the actual paper ads training, and it's not in there.
Take a look inside the Facebook group as well. Like you'll see on the
Okay.
left hand, I'm sorry, I know I'm on camera, it's backwards.
Yep.
Left hand menu, you'll see something called units.
Gotcha.
And it should be like right under discussion, right? And if you click on that, there should be like a resources section.
Okay.
You'll see the website, you'll see the part 1 and part 2 of the guides.
Gotcha.
They're posted there as well. Yeah,
Okay.
and ultimately those guides will be, I'm going to update them, and they're going to be posted inside of Ring Ads too. So you're going to have content in multiple places for sure.
So the actual ads training in there is using, the editor, the newer editor.
It's not using the editor. No, I don't use the editor in that. I show how to create a campaign completely from scratch using just the platform. Yeah.
Okay.
The copy paste stuff for the mirror campaigns that everybody's asking about, what you heard earlier.
Yeah.
That's from that's where the editor comes into handy a lot, because you're talking about 25, 26, 27 different campaigns. I mean, could you imagine doing each and every one of those manually and not knowing what keywords? I mean, it's going to be much easier just to hit a couple of buttons, upload them all in one go. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And now the mirror, which one? I heard that a couple of people talking about Prime. Is that the paid group?
Prime is, well, okay. So there's a few different things that we have, and there's a couple of, I covered this a couple of different times on replays, so I'll just recap it very quickly here.
Apologize. I'm a little late to the game here.
Totally okay. That's why I'm going to do a quick recap and then explain to you where you can find much more detail about it. A couple of different places. Number one, there's a few different things that we have. We have Ring Ads Prime, we have Ring Ads Mirror, and we have the Ring Ads Mentorship and Ring Ads Classic, which if you have access to the software, you're definitely inside of Ring Ads Classic. That's free. All the upgrades and updates, software development, all that stuff that comes with that is going to be loaded in there. You're never going to have to pay for that, okay? The Ring Ads Prime is a monthly, $27 a month.
Okay,
it's an over the shoulder series, access to the dibs list, all that kind of stuff, right? Any new campaigns, actually the campaign that I created in the COVID challenge, guess what? Prime gets access to that.
Okay.
The other one is Ring Ads Mirror. That's the copy paste campaigns that you get access to, right?
Is that part of Prime, or is that in addition to Prime?
Ring Ads Mirror is separate. That's a $97 one time. That's a $97 one time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got that.
Just one time. Yeah. And then Mentorship is a yearly, and it's currently it's at $14.97 a year, and that is the private group that's off to the side where I do. Actually, I did a session yesterday. We do sessions every week on Mondays. So we do weekly sessions in there. A lot of the stuff that's not yet updated in its newer form, or I say updated training, has not been produced yet inside of Ring Ads for things that I'm going to cover in COVID challenge as well, which is why I'm doing that first. Things like building your agency, scaling it, client acquisition, client management, all those kind of things that aren't updated yet inside the software part of that training area. Are things that have already been covered inside of the mentorship, because the mentorship's been going since September actually of last year. So it's been going 6 months now, 6 months plus, and there's a ton of stuff in there. So that's what that is, and all the different things that we have available. Yep.
Awesome. All right, so I think I got my bearings now. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at all that stuff. So
now, if you have questions, more questions about what has what, one of the places you can find that is actually inside the software. There's on the right, on the left hand side, you'll see an upgrade tab, right? You remember the upgrade tab?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I was just in there.
Okay. And if you look at the available options, or in your current plans, either or, you'll see whatever plan that you have or don't have, you'll see what you're getting link right under it. And if you click on that, it'll take you to a sales page that doesn't have a checkout button, because when you upgrade through the platform, right? It's kind of nice and easy that way.
Yeah.
But I give you a link for everything so that you know what you're getting. And you can, at any time, if you want to take a look at what it is that you're getting, it's going to be there. Now, that said, from time to time, and I've already started doing it, I'm adding more to those things, and I'm just announcing them in these live streams. For example, the COVID challenge would be one of those things. That's not something I had originally planned, because nobody had planned on being shut in the house for the last 2 months or whatever, or for the next 2 months, who knows.
Okay.
But it's something I'm adding because it's valuable. People need it. I know they need it, and why not? I mean, so anyone inside of Ring Ads Prime or Ring Ads Mirror is getting access to the COVID challenge. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you,
All
sir.
right.
And now,
You're welcome.
yeah. So I looked up. I'm looking at it right now, and we'll figure out, because I bought it when I bought something else, and I'm just adding it to my agency. So I've got a small agency, and I got people who need leads, and I like the pay-per call, and I've got everything set up, and it looks great. So I'm excited to get going. So
well, great.
So thanks. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, my man. It's good to have you.
Take care.
You too, bud. Who we got next? Hello. Let's see. Who do we got here?
Hey, William.
Yes.
It's Julian.
Hey, Julian.
Hey, so I have a quick question.
Shoot.
Back in the day, we used to have something called Call Zoo Connect, which was a sort of affiliate program where we could do a national campaign. Do you have any intention to do anything like that, or are we going to just go after local businesses?
No, short answer is this. Yes, we're going to do an affiliate network. No, it's not going to be on the same backbone as what Call Zoo Connect was created on when I created that. It's going to be on a different backbone. And the goal was to have that done this first quarter, but a lot of stuff went crazy. So my goal is to have that as soon as all the rest of the training is up. So kind of not necessarily in this order, but it's going to pretty much flow in the way of COVID challenge. I'm going to make some of the updates like Prime and Mirror, COVID challenge, and then it's going to be full training set. And at that point, when we're ready to expand into the different traffic sources, that's when it's going to make the most sense to have us set up on that new backbone, that new affiliate network. With that set, we're going to have a team managing the offer selection and curation, if you will, in the back office of that whole setup. And you'll be able to run affiliate offers. We're also going to be updating Ring Ads to detect, based on your selection, whether you're running an affiliate offer, right? Kind of campaign inside of Ring Ads, or you're running a local client. So there's going to be a little bit of, I say a little bit, there's on the coding side, it's going to be a lot, but as far as your eyes go, it's going to be a little bit of a change when we do add that network. So I want to make sure all that goes at once, along with the training, and you're able to see, okay, I select affiliate network inside of Ring Ads, that I'm running traffic to an affiliate offer, and the settings and everything changes because it's an affiliate offer, not a local client. So yeah, we're long. I say all that to say, short answer, yes, we're going to do that. Should have already had that done the first quarter, but just the way things didn't shake out that way. But it's still on the books for sure. It's going to happen. I've been keeping tabs on that, and everything's ready to go, waiting on us, which is a good position for us to be in, especially right now, when it's time, we'll be able to have that set up. Yep.
Okay. In the future, when we do things like Facebook ad traffic or whether we do Bing ad traffic,
right?
Would it be possible to have our phone numbers in our systems switch out so that we know that it was a Facebook ad or it was a Bing ad or whichever one was driving the traffic to our clients?
That's already set that way. If you run it by the campaign, if you look at inside of Ring Ads, you can actually set it right now. You could run multiple traffic sources. Like the only thing that you don't have right now is how I would set up a Facebook call ad, how I would set up a Bing call ad. If you already know how to do those things, you can set them up right now to where you could have call only ads running to one campaign. You could have, for example, you could have like 10 different traffic sources, 10 different campaigns, 10 different phone numbers, and all running to one client. You could have that, or one affiliate offer. You could have it set that way so that you know which traffic source is pulling the conversions, most of the conversions, where your best money is being spent, all that kind of. Yeah, you can already do that, 100%.
Perhaps it's in the training, and I haven't seen that.
It's in the software training in terms of how to set up multiple campaigns. Yeah, there's actually a function that makes a life hell of a lot easier for you. It's called the copy function. I'm not even trying to be funny. Inside of the campaign section, you'll notice over to the right, actually to the right, you'll see an action column, and if you click on like the little dots there below that, for the specific campaign you're wanting to work with, you'll see a copy option pop up. Mm-hmm. You can copy a campaign, change out the phone number, change out the campaign name, which would identify if it's a Facebook ad or if it's a Google call only ad or a display ad or a YouTube ad or a Bing ad, whatever it is. You can label it, change out the phone number. All the other settings, since it's going to the same client, would be exactly the same, or the same offer, same affiliate offer. All the other settings would be same. 100%. So you could just scroll down, hit save. You got a new campaign with a new phone number. Take that new phone number over to your ad platform, wherever that's at, whatever you're doing, plug it in. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
William?
Yes.
Yeah, it's me again. Sorry, man. Regarding what Julian said now, I also almost forgot to tell you that I was like on a conversation with Julian Sunday for almost 2 hours, and I also been chatting with Jeff Brewer. But
Jeff Brewer,
regarding coming back to this affiliate campaigns,
yes,
like can you use if you maybe? But I spoke to Julian about that on Sunday, but it looks like it's far too expensive to try out the affiliate offers. So I'd rather stick to doing the local stuff rather. But just a question, like, if for the murder campaigns, can you use that for affiliate campaigns?
Yeah, you can currently use the way Ring Ads is set. You can still use Ring Ads for affiliate offers. It's just not, how do I say this? It's just not optimized for that yet, because the platform hasn't been the platform Julian was asking about to run affiliate offers for you guys is not out yet, and so we didn't want to update the software until we do that together. So Ring Ads will be updated on the affiliate side, just like the affiliate network itself. When those go live, they'll go live together. So it makes things a lot easier to understand and train on and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's possible right now to run affiliate campaigns with Ring Ads, no problem. You would just have to kind of set up not a dummy company, but placeholder, I guess is the best word to use. Placeholder company, and then the campaigns you could run all, dozens and dozens of campaigns if you wanted to, all to that same company. And the copy function makes it just super simple. Once you set up that first campaign, copying it multiple times for how many ever campaigns you're running, it's really easy to do. Really, really easy to do. Saves you a lot of time.
Okay, so like basically you can just plug in a murder campaign for an affiliate offer.
Yeah, what you would do is you would forward to the phone number of that affiliate offer. Yeah. And the good news on running affiliate offers, even if you don't like running to them or want to run to them long term, they help you get a massive set of data very quickly, because most of them are at least regional, if not national offers, which means you can run a regional or multiple states, in other words, or you can run a national campaign, and that gives you a lot more data a lot faster. Yep.
Okay. But for me now, I think I'll rather just stick to the local side of things now before
No
maybe
worries.
I get into
No
other
worries.
things. But that is what I want to learn now, is the paper core.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. Cool, man. Thanks.
All right. You're welcome, bud. Who would like to come on next?
Hi, William.
Yes.
So my question is regarding importing numbers into ring ads, which you've said that you're not going to do. And so this is like a final appeal to say that, you know, like some of us have like lead gen sites. I'm not being, you know.
Let's, I'll tell you what, let me start this conversation for us, okay? I laugh because you think you know my answer. I've been seriously considering it lately. Let me start with that and say, if you can, I'll say this, and this is not the end of the discussion or anything, okay? So this is maybe an ongoing thing, and other people feel free to chime in, comments, posts, whatever, as well as live here, that's fine too. I am open to the idea. The only concern that I have is one of security. It is, it's not something I take lightly, because keep in mind, it's not just my business, right? It's your business as well that's tied to the Ring Ads platform, and everybody else is on top of that. So this is not a decision that's only affecting one or two people that want the feature. If that were the case and there was no security concerns, you'd already have it. My issue is with other platforms. It's the potential for security risk, and the abuse of numbers is there. I know that for a fact, 100%. If you can convince me that that's a non-factor, or that it is something that users should take at their own risk, or use at your own risk, much like having bleach in the house. I mean, think of it as this, like, I don't want bleach in the house because we have children running around. It doesn't mean I don't like bleach. It doesn't mean I don't know the positive effects of bleach in the used in the right way. It just means I don't want my kids accidentally swallowing some bleach just because it was in the house. If you can convince me that, and not just you, but anyone, if you have legitimate ways or some kind of progression that protects ring ads legally, keep that in mind, against such actions, that somebody else, you know, if somebody else's child was visiting and swallowed the bleach that was in my house, guess what? I'm held liable for that. So if you can find a way to not circumvent that, but appease that, as well as the security concerns that I have for you guys, I will definitely make that a top priority. That said, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted you to know you're talking to someone that actually does have an open mind on it. But that's where my concerns primarily lay. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I suppose that if we are able to buy numbers from Twilio, and we have Twilio numbers that we're already using, could it be less unsecure to import those numbers, so it's limited to just Twilio numbers? And the reason why I'm asking is because, you know, some of us are looking at multiple streams of income. So looking at having SEO websites, lead gen websites that we're ranking. We've got tracking numbers that are tied to a GMB, a Google My Business listing, and we also have sometimes hundreds of directories that are all pointing to our sites. So to have to use a new number means making a lot of changes. And to be honest, I think I would rather keep my websites where they're at right now then move them over to Ring Ads. But then from a reporting point of view for my clients, they're only getting the call-only reporting, whereas my SEO lead gen reporting will have to come via another platform. So it makes it all very messy.
I understand.
So yeah, so that's my concern, and I'm still kind of thinking, what do I do? Do I just keep them separate? Yeah, so I just thought I'd put it. I mean, obviously, I'm not an expert. I'm not a security expert, so I can't really advise on that front. But that's my headache, part of it.
I think more of it comes down to liability than security. Like if you're willing to, in other words, if you're willing to accept the liability on a personal level for what happens doesn't happen with those phone numbers, for example, because some people, you gotta understand, with that kind of a feature opening the door, it's kind of like opening Pandora's box. It's not like, I understand your reasoning for having those numbers, and that's just one of which. I mean, other people have numbers from other platforms they want to transition over, whereas I wouldn't recommend that, and so much to the point where we don't have that as a function because of those risks. Now, I can go in and have our terms of service and privacy policy updated to reflect those changes of liability. If I find that most people are acceptable to those changes, and I say most because it's kind of a majority rules at this point. And that's, again, that's why I say it's open for discussion. If I find that, then the updates on the features, I'm going to, give me 1 second real quick. 1 second. Sorry about that. I thought I heard something. The liability is probably the most important thing to take into account, because if someone accepts liability, then that means you're putting your trust in yourself and wherever you're pulling those numbers from. And if that's the case, then it's no longer Ring Ads liability. And I say that because it's important. You got to understand, like, many people use this platform, and the numbers only growing every day, not the other way around. So while I really want you to be able to have that kind of functional use out of the software, to be able to have everything in one place, that'd be great. I'm just really struggling with the security concept and or addressing the liability side. However, if people are open to, and if I find that they're open to accepting that liability and agreeing to it inside of Ring Ads, then I don't see any reason why, for that specific issue, by the way. I'm not saying you're going to take liability for everything. Okay, I'm not an asshole like that. I'm gonna treat you fair. I just want to make sure that the liability is covered on dealing with this specific issue because of the other platforms that are out there and what I know about them. It's kind of scary, actually. I don't really want to get into it much more than that, but to explain that that's why you're seeing what you see and hearing what you hear. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you want, I'll tell you this, if you want to post in the group and like ask maybe a poll question based on the liability side, I have no problems with that. And I'm there to support you. Because I if you can't tell, I actually want bleach in the house. I do, because I understand the importance and benefits of it. I'm really struggling with the idea of, having somebody else's kids in my house with that bleach around and not having child-proof locks on it and on the doors and stuff like that. I struggle with that. And but I am open to it for sure.
But if the number, sorry, Julian.
I just want to ask, if you put it to us to vote on in the group,
yes,
we don't really understand the security or liability issues.
All you need to,
so I have no idea how would affect my site or how would it affect my business.
Okay, here's how it would affect your business, and this is actually that's a very good point. Thank you for asking that, Julian. We should probably have some kind of, not like disclaimer, but like important note maybe attached to the bottom of the poll. It would be something along the lines of the security issues you have are if a phone number is abused, right? And abused meaning abused by a platform. Think about this for a second. If for any reason a platform falls out of compliance, which I've seen happen with my own eyes, and I'm sure some of you on this call have as well. If they fall out of compliance in any way, shape, or form with these phone platforms like Twilio. Twilio is just one platform, by the way. We fully intend on expanding to other platforms, but for right now, we're with Twilio exclusively. If you look at that lack of compliance, and let's say that phone number used to be with that platform and now it's with this one, what's to keep Twilio from just completely shutting everybody down? Or that number down, period, even though it's over with Ring Ads and used to be with another platform, just because of the abuse on the number itself, or the lack of clients or compliance, not clients. I've got clients on the brain. The lack of compliance, that's huge. That's big. It's a big potential security breach in that way. I don't think it's going to affect everybody else on Ring Ads. As let's say this, it doesn't have as much of a chance to affect everybody else on Ring Ads, because we can make a case and explain to people, explain to the powers that be, let's say, that it's an individual use. They accepted liability for use of that phone number, and we're willing to cooperate with you in any kind of investigative manner or form that you need, based on a breach. If there's a breach in terms of not data, the word breach is pretty severe, but in terms of security breach, right, or lack a breach of compliance on Twilio's side, for example, that's how they're viewing it. We don't want to be mixed up in that, but again, if somebody's accepting the liability for that on an individual basis, each of you would be doing that, because it would be mandated in the terms. It would be required for you to agree to that before ever using the software again. We have it set, actually, just so you know, anytime we make changes to the terms of service and privacy policy on our side, and you have the same function, by the way, for your clients when they log in. Anytime you make changes to the terms of service or privacy policy, and us as well, we have the ability to reset that agreement, meaning a change has been made. It's going to pop up again next time you log in, and you will not be able to continue using the software in any shape or form until you have agreed to those new changes. And that's a function that's there for a very good reason. It makes things like this, conversations like this, a lot easier, where it's like, okay, well, if you understand now that you do the security side of what I'm explaining to you, the possible things that could happen, and that's just one scenario. Just understand it's more of an individual basis at that point, not a Ring Ads thing, because we stay within compliance, which is why I would only make you accept liability for your own stuff. But if you understand that now on the security side, the liability side would be accepting liability for whatever happens to that phone number. Like if Twilio decides to just shut your numbers down for some reason, you accept liability for that, and understand that it's not Ring Ads that's at fault for that in any way, shape, or form, because we open that door, that feature, to allow you to import numbers from other platforms, or import numbers, period. It would be how it would work. That's pretty much that's the best explanation I can give you.
But could you not buy a brand new number via Ring Ads and abuse that number anyway and still get?
You could, and it's still, but your liability for that is covered under the fact that, I mean, think about it. You can't, the only way you can get a number right now through Ring Ads is to get a number through Ring Ads. There's no other way. So the liability is already assumed. It's already assumed, and it's under, if anything is done on our end, on Ring Ads side, liability wise, you're already covered on that too, right? So this would be opening the door to third parties that have also tapped into another third party, which is Twilio, that we use. So that's where the exposure comes from, I guess, is the best way to say that.
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, you know, if and I hate using this analogy, but I'm going to use it because it clearly explains my point. Let's say for a second, I have a brother, which I don't, and I know COVID's going on right now, but before COVID, we were awfully as a society across the entire world. Even some cultures are different, but drinking out of somebody else's glass, if you're related, is not necessarily as big of an issue. Like if you both were dying of thirst and you had a brother, swigging out of the same glass or out of the same bottle is not near as big a deal as it is from a complete stranger, right? So where this comes into play is if you and I are brothers and we're using the same glass and we're comfortable with that, or husband and wife share glasses, and that's totally acceptable because they kiss, that's not a big deal for them to swap spit like that, I should say. So husband and wife, but now you've got this third party stranger who's out in the hall, and now you're trying to share a glass with that person. I mean, that opens you up to what? Like all kinds of not good things. I mean, it's kind of scary when you think about it like that, but that's the reality of it. Especially now with COVID, something like that going on. People that are related to each other, husband and wife, probably don't even want to share glasses right now. I know I don't. And believe it or not, sharing glasses is a thing, as you know. But I just don't want to see that happen in this case, where someone could be penalized for example, what happens if a platform becomes non-compliant with Twilio, and they pull phone numbers and they put them into ring ads, and they lose their Twilio access because of it, right? And through no fault of their own, even. Excuse me. That's if they're currently using ring ads, who are they going to blame? Probably. I mean, you could say that they would blame the other platform, but they're not currently using that platform anymore. They moved all the numbers over. I just don't want us to be able to be open to accepting that kind of liability or exposure for someone else's misdeeds. That's not even the person using the platform. It's the other platform. That's the biggest challenge. But like I said, if you want to throw a poll out there, I'll chime in. I'll definitely support that. And I will pay attention to it. I can tell you that much. And I'm totally okay with it. I'm not even just okay with it. I'm open to it. I encourage it, because that's the kind of stuff that if we can find ways to address those issues, and without making it sound like I'm a politician, that makes me sound like a politician. If we can find a way to work through that and make that an active function, I would be tickled pink. Are you kidding me? I'd be very happy about that, because that opens a lot of doors for a lot of people. Case in point, your scenario, right, where you're at. And so I'd love to be able to do that. I want to make sure that everybody's on board with that and understands what that means, and why they should probably still, if they're running with other platforms, to use new numbers. I mean, I would go so far as to say, if you're using platforms with numbers with other platforms, I would go so far as to say, try your best to change out on the properties you currently have, changing out those numbers. I mean, even on GMB properties, you can edit and change a number. That's no big deal at all. You may still have to turn around and verify that number, but if depending on how well established that listing is, if it's established enough to be getting phone calls on a local level, then you should be and optimized, then you should be fine on changing that phone number. You should be, as long as it's a decent number, not one that's been abused, which if you're buying it straight out of ring ads, I mean, that's something I would at least test, is my point, while we're waiting on this, while we're waiting on the results from that vote, that poll in the group. But I still encourage you to do the poll, because I think it's a good idea. I don't mind you bringing it up again, because we haven't had the conversation. You're actually you're the first person to ask this, I believe. I could be wrong. I think you're the first person to bring this up on a live stream where we can actually have a conversation about it as opposed to me just posting about it. And my posts and comments make me look like I'm absolutely dead set against it. Whereas trying to explain what I'm trying to explain, could you imagine this in a post or a comment? I mean, that'd be kind of crazy. So anyway, anything you'd like to add to that or ask in follow up to that?
No, that sounds fair. I'll set up a post in the group and see what people say. I mean, I did also register a new number via the Ring Ads platform,
Okay.
just following the training anyway, just to test that out. So
okay.
Yeah, but I'll appreciate the openness and to this idea anyway. So
well, we're all in this together. I mean, that's kind of the point. I'm not trying to be a dictator here. There are things that I know run very well and why they run well and all that. And I kind of stuck to my guns on that for that reason. However, if you're willing to have that conversation, and I'm talking about the entire group, not just you specifically, but if we're willing to have that conversation together and find the way through, which there's light at the end of that tunnel, there's a way through for sure. It's just a matter of what people are willing and open to accepting liability for. I don't really see it. A lot of people think, accepting liability for something means that something is going to happen. I'll say this. I'm not going to say it's unlikely. I won't say it's highly likely. I won't even give any odds or anything or percentages, but just know that if it's possible, then it's something we've considered, and that's why the settings are the way they are, the features are the way they are. But that doesn't mean that they can't change from what people's needs are. And I know you're not the only one that needs that kind of a function. There have been other people that have asked for it. So I expect the poll that you post to, I would do it in a poll format, by the way. I think that would be the best.
Yeah.
And let's see what everybody has to say about it. And thank you for bringing it up. Really, these kind of conversations. I mean, I know I've been a little long-winded on this one, but I feel like it's important. It's an important issue to everybody, not just you guys, not just me, but everyone, even if they're not pulling in numbers from another platform. Because maybe, what if one day somebody wants to pull in a number from another platform, or they acquire another agency that has numbers in another platform? You know what I'm saying? You get the idea. It's important. It is for sure. So thanks for bringing it up, and let's get on that so we can get some feedback on it and find the way through.
Awesome. Thanks, William.
You're welcome. All right, who do we got next? I think we have a bunch of people on. I don't know if everybody wants to ask questions or not. Have we talked to everybody yet? I don't know. Carrie's on. Hey, Carrie, is that you? Is that Carrie Patrick?
Yeah, what's up, William?
Hey, man, I was set to talk to you yesterday, and the freaking did you catch my my stream, the earlier part of this stream where I explained what happened?
Yeah,
so
I
migrated the entire freaking MacBook over, man. That was nuts.
That's
anyway,
cool. Technology is fun. You probably didn't see my my support ticket, because on my end, when I went to send it in, I think my internet went out and it got stuck. So I just realized that when I hopped on the live, like, oh, he didn't even get my support ticket anyway. Damn. So it's all good, man. Technology happens to the best of us. So I'm gonna
resubmit.
Yeah, resubmit that. Okay. Hopefully you'll have time. I know you got a lot to get done this week before Friday. So
I'll definitely take a look. I told you I would. By the way, everybody, Carrie's in the mentorship. That's why we're having that conversation about yesterday and support ticket and all that stuff. Like he owes me a support ticket that I believe covers the campaign stuff and what you're doing, right?
Trying to make sure. I realized just the optimization part, some of the things I was not doing correctly. I think with working on that accelerated pace, I think I was bumping.
Bid bumping.
I was bumping bids too quickly because when I went back and looked at your mentorship, I think it was number 9 or 10 on optimization. I didn't realize when it shows as eligible, already, go ahead and
So
leave it there,
leave it be,
even if it's not necessarily getting impressions, clicks, and calls quite yet.
Correct. That's correct.
Right? Now, if I'm doing accelerated, I still want to, I leave that for what, 1 or 2 days?
Well, accelerated would be every day.
Every day. Okay. So even if it's eligible, if it's not getting impressions, clicks, and calls, I still want to be bumping it every day to be trying to get that get. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's a little bit, it feels a little bit counterintuitive because it's like, Jesus, am I spending more money? But here's the thing. If you look at the daily budget of a campaign, if it's set at $50 a day, for example, you're not going to go much above that. Remember, Google does adjust based on what time it is of the month. Like it's the middle of the month right now. So if you were to start up a brand new campaign at $50 a day, it may spend, I think they say up to like 75, maybe to 100. I could be wrong on that. But it definitely would, to make up for a month's worth of, the first half of the month is gone. So they're trying to make up, a $50 a day budget is actually what, $1,500 a month. So they're trying to spend $1,500 within that last 2 weeks. So if you're starting middle of the month and it's normally $50 on a daily budget, you might want to start it at 25 middle of the month, and then first of the month go back and bump that to 50. Especially on an unoptimized campaign, it's a good way to save your money. And by save your money, I mean spend it more wisely is the best way to say that. But yeah, bid bumping, let me know on that, and I will get you some feedback on that for sure.
Cool.
And I
appreciate it.
I was so crazy because folks, everybody listening in, I was on the coaching call yesterday. I say coaching call, the weekly call we do for the mentorship, and I'm looking at my Facebook screen like this, and I'm ready to shift over to the Zoom that we had live, and people were already coming in. Carrie was already in, and I think I even said your name. I was like, "Oh, Carrie's in, so we're gonna get to talk about." And then my entire system shut down, the entire thing, and stayed off. I think it overheated. I could be wrong on that, but whatever happened, obviously we've been going 2 hours now. Hadn't had shit happen. Still at 100% on my screen. And I know I'm not necessarily on the live stream right now, but I am still on a Zoom. I'm still showing my video. Other people have their video. So I'm very happy with the adjustments that were made. And sucks that I had to do it yesterday of all days, but but you got to do what you got to do, and that's kind of the point that I was making earlier. So yeah, submit that ticket in, man. Let me see what you're working on, and I'll give you some course corrections on that for sure. Anything else you got?
I did put in the Zoom chat here. Let me find it. Just a question. When you were talking earlier about
how many numbers should you run for ringless voicemail, voice broadcasting each day?
Like what's a good pace
so you don't get overwhelmed? I would say and by the way, Dale at Dollar Central is a master at this. He tends to set like a lower number of ports depending on your speed. I mean, if it's too much, you can call him up and say, "Yo, Dale," like or one of his staff, obviously.
Yeah, Sherry. I've been dealing with Sherry. I did get
Sherry's a sweetheart, and so is Joffany. Have you dealt with Joffany any?
No, just Sherry so far.
Oh, okay. Sherry's a sweetheart. Don't get me wrong, but Joffany's probably like queen sweetheart. She's my girl, and that's one of Dale's go-tos, Sherry and Joffany, those two right there. So if you're talking with them, you're in good hands for sure. That's who. If I'm dealing with campaign setup, I deal with one of those three. I either deal with Dale, Sherry, or Joffany, and it's been that way for years. By the way, that's not like some I've only been using them 3 months or some kind of shit. That goes way back with these guys. So if you're working with them, good. But there's a certain amount of ports, and I believe it's like for ringless voicemail and the like the live transfers, the IVR campaigns. You're looking at or voice broadcasting, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names for it. I think the ports are like 15 to 1. So for every port you have, I think it's like 15 get delivered every minute or every hour. There's a I always have to ask, but the point, because I don't run campaigns all the time, but I run them often enough to know that there's ports and to know that one port equals X amount per hour. Like if you ran at 15 to 20, you're probably going to pull enough volume. That much I know. And if I ever need more, then I just bump that number up to 30 or something like that.
And I think I've got 15 to 20 cities, and I think with the scrapes and the data from inside Mirror, I think in the 15 to 20 cities, I've only got about 3,500 total numbers anyway. And then I'm not sure
You'll
how
run
many.
through that pretty quick. You'll run through that pretty quick. I'd say even if you did, if you did 4-hour call, are you going to do 4-hour call windows, 2-hour call windows? Like, what are you thinking?
I'm open to 4 hours. I'll be on the phone as long as I need to. I'm pretty flexible.
Well, I don't want you, listen, I don't teach you to do something I wouldn't do myself or that I wouldn't hire out to do. So when I hire a position one, how many hours do they dial?
4 hours.
Right. Closers, how often do I want them on the phone?
I don't have that one remembered. I remember
4 to 6.
4 to 6. Okay, I'm about to say, I know it's
I want them to.
range.
Yeah, I want them to take a break on that too. I want them to go in, follow up with every hot lead they got in that day for sure. Make that like session 1, and then take a break, come back, do session 2, and session 2's follow up. Session 2 would be just follow up with all the past calls that they've had come in, all the hot leads, anything that came in over email or over lunch while they were doing that. But 4 to 6 hours. I don't want them on the phone 8 hours a day, because if you put somebody, listen, man, Vegas is actually pretty big on. So is Utah. There's a couple other states that have big phone centers, massive phone centers, right? Call centers. And those are very, very sad places. Like Disneyland without kids, kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at it, it's like, Jesus, what is going on in there? They're paid, an hourly wage. It's usually very low. And they're expected to do hundreds and hundreds of dials a day. For 8 hours plus. I mean, and when they go home at the end of the day, they are fried intellectually, socially. It affects you so much. So 4 to 6 hours for a closer, because they're not solid 4 to 6 hours. Whereas the person, position 1, that's the one using the dialer, right? So their 4 hours is just wall to wall 4 hours. That taps them. That taps them for the day, and they go in with the other 4 hours. And they change it up, keeps it different, keeps it exciting, or let's say entertaining and engaging enough, right? Where they do the scrapes for you and send out the email campaigns for you and all that kind of stuff.
Through the YAM.
Gets the most use out of that person without having to like suck them dry like Dracula. You know what I mean? It just
makes sense.
Makes sense. You don't want to be that employer. You want to be the guy that everybody loves working for. And that's a great way to do it, is to kind of help people change things up like that. It's another reason why, like your closer, if you remember right, 4 to 6 hours, right? The other 1 to 2 hours, what are they supposed to be doing?
Closer position again. I don't have the.
Okay. I'm spot checking you. I'm spot checking you. It's okay.
But you could
think about it. If they're a closer, what do they need to sharpen their ax? What's the best way for them to get better at what they do?
Role playing, going over the script.
Role playing,
listening
sales
to
training reviews. Like you can go and buy like sales training. Some of the best sales training you could buy for them would be things from Jeffrey Gitmer, like Little Red Book of Sales, or Little Red Book of Closing, I think it's called. Let's see. Influence. Cialdini. Anything Cialdini writes is solid effing gold, dude. What else we got here? They're kind of mixed up. You could even have them work on mindset things, because a lot of closers need help with their mentality to help them for the long haul. But you've also got things like controversial salespeople, like Thor, the Sales Warlord, Jordan Belfort. While they're controversial figures, their sales techniques and skill sets are just beyond ridiculous. And if you use them for ethical purposes, then you don't have to worry about, being douchey if you're not a douche. You can learn from a douche and not be a douche. I mean, I guess that's the best way to say it. And I just said douche a lot. So You've got, who else do you have? There's another Cialdini book. Oren Claff. Oren,
Yeah, Oren
O-R-E-N
Claff.
Claff.
Yeah, he has a lot
That's a
of good
great
about
one.
framing. Yeah.
Yep. Who else have we got? We've got, this is actually a really good book. Who writes this? Fuck if I remember. Nicholas Boothman. This is called Convince Them in 90 Seconds.
Haven't heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah, this is one of those. You ever been into Kinko's?
Yes.
Okay, it's probably been a minute, right?
Yeah.
Was
yeah.
the
Well,
last
they
time we
got
all really
bought out
needed
by
to?
FedEx. Yeah, FedEx.
That's what I meant. FedEx. Yeah. I meant FedEx. So, like, even today, if you go into a FedEx Kinko's, that's what I meant. I meant to say FedEx Kinko's. I'm sorry. They did get bought out. But even before they got bought out, even many, many years ago, what did they always have inside the FedEx Kinko's? Even
They had
today?
business books. They had supplies, business supply, office supplies, and business books.
CDs.
Yep.
They had CDs of Anthony Robbins, Stephen Covey. Who else? Like, you know what I'm saying? They had a bunch of like kind of personal development section. And I always dug that because I would always, not always have to go into FedEx, but anytime I would go into FedEx, you're waiting around. Most people are just standing there watching the people make the copies or fax the thing. Not me, dude. I'm straight over there. I'm looking up. That's where that book came from.
Cool.
And yeah, it's a really good book too. But next time you're in a FedEx or Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's,
yeah, I'll pay
check
attention.
out that section. Yeah, because there's always good stuff there, man.
William, there is, and I do have one of the, but I see someone put in the chat again. They were trying to see how does your new program compare to Callzoo, and their mic's not working. I'll let you answer that real quick, and then I'll
go for it. Oh, you want me to answer it?
Yeah, because I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I see
but
it
I mean,
now.
obviously, I know why I'm here. I mean, you.
Well, no, I want to hear from you. I'll give my answer, but I want to hear from you. You've been around the block for a minute. Let's hear it.
I mean, primary thing. I mean, I mean, I've learned a lot from everyone involved with Callzoo in the past. But when it comes to Callzoo ads, I know you pretty much, you were the originator and creator of that program, and you led the way. So, I mean, for me personally, I want to be the person leading the way, and you're keeping on top of everything changing with Google and the platform and the new way to do campaigns that is skating to where the puck is going, as Wayne Gretzky would say, versus some of the strategies being taught or not, I don't think are the future of where things are going, that's where I think you are headed. And you're building this whole platform from the standpoint of someone that has been in it all day, every day, where, Callzoo now is great. I'm still sure a lot of good people still learn some things from there and other aspects of my business. So I'll never say anything bad. But for this particular thing, paid only ads with Google, the way you're setting up the platform and the training, being the originator of this part of Callzoo anyway, it just makes sense for me to be where all the original source of information and training and systems came from anyway.
Yeah. And thank you for that. That's a very in-depth answer, and that doesn't just cover the platform and training and the direction, but also the origins. I mean, and a lot of people forget, or don't know. Some just don't know where Callzoo ads started from. I mean, when Chris approached me, like I actually approached Chris and said, I want to share some case studies for your guys in the SEO group. And by the way, it wasn't called the SEO group. It was just called Callzoo. This was way back before I gave him any kind of, hey, we should have segmentation and branding like ads, SEO, e-com. That's how that came to be, right? And before that even happened, I was like, hey, I've got some case studies. And he said, hang on, after reviewing them, hang on, I'm calling you. So now I'm on the phone with Chris and I'm like, hey, man. And he's like, keep in mind, he and I had a relationship before that, just not an exclusive working relationship or partnership of any kind at that point. We had helped each other out, speak at each other's events, that kind of thing. Anyway, I shared those case studies with him because I wanted to add value to the group that he let me in, and I'm not an SEO guy. So the best way I knew how to, they were driving phone calls. So I was like, well, shit, this is how I do it. Right. Like, and he's like, I'm looking for somebody to create that kind of a program. And would you be interested 50-50? And I said, give me a day. Let me think about it. And he said, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I take it very fucking serious. Like it's a serious thing you're asking me to do. I mean, I don't envision this being some kind of just like little bitty ass whatever product and forget about it thing. It's going to require a lot. And, I need the day to think about it. And if I say yes, then give me a couple, 2-3 more days to map out a plan for it. And, obviously I said yes. At that point, but I did really seriously think about it and what all it was going to take, and if I was willing to commit to that. I said yes. I did. I put together the plan 2 to 3 days, and it took me 3 hours to go piece by piece, point by point of the plan with Chris. We actually did, and at the end I said, okay, so if you have any questions, like, concerns, ideas, I'm all ears. And he goes, holy shit, that's a lot. And I was like, it is, isn't it? But it's worth it. And we didn't even get, but maybe just over halfway on that list. And that didn't include anything on the software development side that kind of came from running and growing the Calls You Ads section. Keep in mind, everybody that was hired in Calls You Ads, not currently, obviously, I haven't been there in some time, but everybody that was hired initially through Calls You Ads, everybody that was trained, all the systems and processes that the people over there have access to came from me. And not saying that to brag, but you're right. Like what Carrie said is very accurate. It all started, as far as Calls You Ads, entirely all started with me. Even the guy over there right now, currently supporting it, Arvin, came through the house in 2018, and learned what he learned right before he got there from my training, and from being at the house. Went from 1 client to 7. A couple of them were regional, and went on to do what he's gone on to do, right? And did it so well that, Chris reached out to him and put him in charge of the, what was left, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm not very happy that they're using my intellectual property, because Chris and I didn't really have an agreement about that, or anything specifically about that. And just because there's a Callzoo logo on it, I created it. I have all the original documents inside a drive and everything. You bet your ass if they don't take that shit down very quickly, I'm gonna be suing for intellectual property, because it's that important. I don't want them, and the reason I say that is because I don't want them using the training and things that I've covered for not misdirection, but teaching people to go in a direction that I wouldn't teach them to go into, I guess is the best way to say that. Like, you got to understand right now, Google has shifted, as Carrie said. Things are going a different direction than what they're currently teaching over there, but yet they're using all of my intellectual property basically to teach something that is not advised, I guess is it's the only way I can think to describe that, which is kind of scary for those people over there. I feel bad for them. The only thing I can do, I've already done, which is let them know that Ring Ads is here and where we're headed and what we're focused on, and where we came from. I guess that's all you can do. But I think Carrie laid it out very well. So thank you for addressing that. As far as that's training wise. Software wise, I would put a little bit more focus on that, because even though they're transitioning over to, like, it's so funny, I leave, and one of the reasons I leave Calzoo and the partnership was because the software just not only sucked, but it was the lack of openness to improve the software and update it, or even just start from scratch, because I knew it was that important, obviously. And now as soon as I leave, they merge with ACT. I find that kind of funny. And now they're talking about updating ACT, and that's great. I mean, like I said, now they'll just play catch up on all the stuff that we do, which, I mean, it just depends on where you want to be. If you're more comfortable being over there, be over there. If you're comfortable being over here, be over here. Just know this, everything they've ever done and probably, and I say probably, like highly likely, most likely will ever do, will come from here first. There might be a few exceptions to that rule, but they will be just that. They will be exceptions to the rule. And it's just a matter of choice where you want to be. That's all. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So thanks for asking that question. Who is that? H. Allen. I'll call you Hallen. Hallen, thank you for asking that question. Horace Allen, he's laughing. I did see that. So Horace, thank you for asking that. Carrie, thank you for answering that.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Now everybody has a reminder of, it's good for me too. It's good to remember where we came from, why things happened the way they did, and where we're headed from there. And and it's good. It's good to remember that stuff. Definitely.
And from my standpoint as well, I mean, you know, I've had, you know, a fairly thriving e-commerce business that with what's going on the last few months, I'm kind of ready to shift. You know, my primary person that runs that is actually my mother, and you know, she's my oldest just turned 4. I've got a 2.5-year-old, and she's enjoying being grandma. So she would much rather me pay her to be full-time grandma and help around the house than she would running the e-commerce business in our shop. So, I mean, I'm connected with you because I'm pretty much like, hey, I'm putting everything on the table to totally shift my direction of my company and my brand. So I want to be connected with the person that I feel can best be there and is committed to pay per call long-term, you know, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road.
Absolutely.
So looking at it from a much bigger standpoint than, oh, let me just make a few dollars. I'm looking at changing, you know, everything to go this direction. So need to be connected with where I feel is best long-term. So.
Gotcha. No, we're happy to have you, man. Always.
Yep. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or want to come on, ask anything? I know we've been on a while, but I don't give a damn. If we got people that got questions or need some help with something, my voice is fading a little bit, but that's okay. Anybody else want to come on?
Well, while we are waiting, William, I've got my YAM set up.
Yeah,
okay. I'm probably going to go ahead and drop that. I figure I may drop that probably Thursday.
Are you doing the 3-day sequence, or are you doing?
I've got I know you said you can do 500 a day with the system, and the emails I was able to pull from these 15 to 20 cities, I've only got like 750 emails.
You can do 1,500 a day.
Oh, it's 1,500. Okay. Well, I still only got 750 because I started with 15 to 20 kind of target cities, trying to be around that 500K.
Okay.
And again, you know, the niche, the vertical that I'm in just doesn't have as many service providers as, you know.
Are you going to run the 3-day sequence?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to do, excuse me, you're going to do probably what, 500 to your, to first, let's say day one, God almighty, day 1, 500, email 1. Day 2 is email 1 to the other 250 or whatever you got.
Correct.
Day 3, email 2 back to the group of 500, and
correct.
so on and so forth, alternating every other day.
Yeah. So
you run that. I'll tell you, you run that 3-day email sequence, you're going to pull some business from that.
Cool.
Like I've seen in some verticals where half your business comes from email, if not more. And I've seen where it's been usually 25, 30%, third, somewhere in there. That's pretty typical of running the emailing side. Ringless voice broadcasting are fantastic, but for some of those like white collar verticals, think like personal injury, think divorce, think anything that's like even stuff that's higher end, that's not even stuff I advise or teach yet because of Google call only ads. Think Facebook ads, like for financial advisors, for example. While you may pay more per call, they're worth more. And if you look at the client side, those people don't like ringless voice broadcasting as much because they go by appointments, or they like appointments being set. They're very appointment minded people. Realtors, same kind of thing, right? although they'll answer the phone pretty much, they just don't appreciate or like ringless voicemail voice broadcasting. Those white collar positions don't. The good news is they love email. They love email and text. Actually, those are the two big ones there. I've got some strategies that I'm going to be updating inside of the training area for Ring Ads Classic. So that means everybody has it. Under client acquisition, I'm going to be expanding that as well. I can't give away all the goods yet, but I can tell you it's not just about ringless voicemail, voice broadcasting, email. It's also, I've talked about this in the past, like social media accounts and direct mail. I've got some updates on those and I'm going to post out as well. And then I've got some couple other acquisition methods that will blow you guys away. Like it's not as, let's say this, it's not as cheap as ringless voicemail voice broadcasting. Like if you ran a ringless voicemail voice broadcasting campaign, you might pay $30 and pull in several clients. like 5 clients. It's not a joke. So that's like what? That's sub $10 a client. That's like $5-6 bucks a client. Acquisition cost. That's cheap. That's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
When you look at something
the
like
lifetime plus customer value of these kind,
right. Yeah, it's insane, right? And then you look at something like Facebook where you can run ads, right? And there's some ways that I can teach you to run some ads to pull in clients and acquire clients for pay-per-call for your vertical, but you're going to pay 20, 30, 40 bucks a client. While that's still insanely good, it's not as insanely good as $5-6 bucks a client. So by and far, ringless voicemail, voice broadcasting, email, those should always be your top 3, your go-tos in any vertical you step into. And then you expand to the other things that I'm going to teach you guys, like the direct mail, the social media accounts, the running the ads to get the clients. There's going to be some pretty cool stuff that's going to be laid out for sure. So
cool. Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. I guess, hold on, we got somebody I did not admit into the room. I apologize. So Bob is now joining us. Anybody else want to ask a question? Let's make this last call. I think that's a good idea. Yes.
Eric here. Sorry, I just got back. Sorry, you probably mentioned this again. I just heard you talking about the ringless. I'm sorry, man. I don't understand the ringless voicemail, the legalities of it.
Yeah.
Is that legal for us to do if we don't have the phone number? Then I'm asking out of complete naivety. I don't know how that. I know how it works.
It's legal if what? You didn't complete the question. It's legal if what?
Is it legal for us to do ringless voicemail to businesses if we don't have their number like in advance, or is that okay because it's a business? Like, would we get in trouble for just doing a voice broadcast? Sorry, let me back up. If I wanted to run a voice broadcast campaign.
Oh, you mean they didn't opt in?
Yeah.
Like they're not, yeah. It's a business. Keep in mind, there's certain rules that you have to comply with. One thing I can tell you about working with someone like Dale is he has.
Sorry, like who?
Dale at Dollar Central. Yeah, Dale at Dollar Central. He's one of my secret weapons. But he's the guy, he's my go-to guy. He's who I run all my campaigns through. Anything that I have ever set up systems wise, like back in the past in Call Zoo, was set up through Dollar Central and my relationship that I have with Dale. I've had that relationship and those systems and processes for years and years. It's not something that was just created overnight or anything like that. We modified it so that everyone inside of Call Zoo, for example, could use that service and do well with it. But it's something where now you have direct access to Dale. Not that I was ever hiding it before. I just simplified the processes. But the way I look at it now is like, okay, well, you should be responsible for every part of your business, including client acquisition. And ringless voicemail voice broadcasting is a very big way to do that. Now, to answer your question, Dale has a lot of those answers. Not that I don't, but let's just say it this way. I know certain things like only call businesses, and business hours are going to be 9 to 9, I believe. I have to double check that always, but I usually call in the middle of the day, so it's never a big deal. And because you're calling a business and not a consumer, then your phone, the laws that govern ringless voicemail voice broadcasting are much, much more lenient currently at the time of this recording in what is this, April 14th, 2020 at 2:28 p.m. The laws are very much more lenient, let's say, than they would be for consumers, ringless voicemail to consumers. I happen to know, though, that Dale does a lot of work with political clients as well, which means those do go out to consumers. So he's very familiar with any and all type of campaign you could ever run and the legalities behind it. And I'll tell you this right now, running your campaigns with him is not only the safest bet, it's usually the best deal you can find, especially at bulk. And he also has a built-in litigators list, something I don't talk about a lot because, again, it's just something that, you know, most people don't ask about. But a built-in litigators list is like a blacklist of people that you don't want to have rung, right? They're known litigators, meaning they're known for pursuing phone numbers as like a spam or whatever. Even if it's totally legal, you just don't want the headache, you don't want the trouble. And he has an entire list that you can scrub against, and I think that's automatic. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's automatic whenever you set up your inside of your own platform with Dale, which is nice because you don't ever have to think. I've never had to once ask him about the litigators list or applying it or anything. It's just there, which is very nice. So anyway, yeah, it does have a DNC list. Someone's asking. Dale's website, dollarcentral.com, DIALER, Dialer Central, CENTRAL.com, dollarcentral.com. There's a client intake form, actually. It'd be the best way to, like, you can call them. It's like I said, the three you want to talk to are going to be Dale, Sherry, or Joffany. Tell them William sent you from Ring Ads, and they're going to know who I am. Trust me. Joffany might even say something like a real sweetheart, like she always does about me. Hopefully, I'm hoping. I'm kidding. She'll take care of you. Either one of those girls will take care of you. Dale will take care of you. And they know who I am and are very familiar with what we use ringless voicemail voice broadcasting for, how the typical campaign settings, who you're calling, like business owners as opposed to consumers. Like they know everything they need to know, and then some about the campaign side for ringless voicemail voice broadcasting. Makes things super, super easy.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you say Joshany?
Joffany.
Joffany. Okay.
Joffany. Yeah, she's.
What was the other lady's name?
Sherry.
Sherry. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Dale, Sherry, and Joffany.
Okay. Very good.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome, and thank you for asking. That's a good question. I understand it's a concern that some people have. Now you know I would never steer you wrong, and if anything, I'd only steer you the absolute truest form and way that I can, because when you look at something that's delicate like that, you gotta. I don't think a lot of people. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but it seems like some people don't consider how much goes into a thought process or decision that's made, and not just by me. I mean, obviously by me, but because I'm very analytical like that. But I don't want you guys using something that is just substandard. It doesn't have to be perfect, and nothing truly is. But man, that doesn't mean we can't strive for the best. You know what I'm saying? Just because I can't get my hair perfect doesn't mean I got to cancel the live stream today. Are you kidding me? Like, you know, deal with it, right? And I'm talking to myself. Deal with your hair and just go on, man. Do your thing. Like at some point the world will reopen and I'll be able to go get a haircut, because I'm sure as shit not going to cut it myself. I don't trust myself that well with a razor. I'm kidding. But I'm also not kidding. DialerCentral.com. Dialer, DIALER, Central.com. Somebody wrote dealercentral.net. Nope, not even close. Okay. It could be I get it. Could be the audio internet connection. Maybe you misheard. Dialer like a phone dialer. Phone dialer, ER. Like I'm a phone dialer. Dialercentral.com. Excuse me. There's a customer intake form at the bottom of the website. You can call them direct, but they're gonna ask you to fill that form out, and then they'll have a conversation with you. It's just to help them understand more about what your needs are, where you came from, referral wise, and all that stuff. You got it, Dialer Central. You got it perfect. That's exactly it right there. There's a ton of comments in here. I apologize. I was not paying attention. I'm gonna come back up to these, make sure everything's answered here. Let's see.
I think you got everything other than call zoo and act.
Yeah, act.
Who wanted clarity on was call. Yeah, they wanted to know clarity on was call zoo platform merging with act, and he wanted to make sure he heard that right. Everything else.
Yeah, which is 100%. Who wrote that? George. Yes. The call zoo software, to my understanding, is merging with ACT, as far as I understand, which is, I mean, that presents its own challenges, but and I know they're making progress on that. But one of the things, and it took them quite a while to do that, I might add, just to get the seamless merge in there. But what's interesting about that platform, ACT specifically, is that it's historically known to not be updated for years at a time. Like, that's not an uncommon complaint, actually, that I've seen out there and about. I personally haven't ever complained about it, but that's also because I never used it, right? So it's a tricky business, right? I mean, just know who you're in business with, make your choices based on the information that you have available, and at the end of the day, I'll tell you this, like, the people that are on this call right now, so let me look at the camera, there we go. You guys are all inside of Ring Ads, and one thing I can promise you is this: if you are inside of Ring Ads, that means you have Ring Ads Classic. Software wise, everything you need to be able to not just track phone calls, but run an agency and manage the agency with the most efficiency possible is going to be right here, 100%. I can't tell you about other platforms or where they're headed or what they're doing. And I can also tell you that, I wouldn't be too inspired by someone who resisted change for more than 3 years on a weekly basis, I might add, conversation-wise, to update software and improve it and make it better for what we actually need. I mean, that's I don't know if you'd be best following that. All I can tell you is what we're doing over here and how we're doing it, and the fact that, well, you know what? Screw that. You guys got to see exactly what that's all about, as far as like what we're open to, even on things that we've previously said, hey, we're not considering that because of the security risk. I made it a point to, even though somebody asked me on an open channel, to be open to it, to not just be open to it, but to share with you the concerns that you all should be having about that feature update and request. Then we're going to discuss it as a group, and all the other stuff is pretty straightforward. This just happens to be one of those things that it's a little bit of not a taboo subject, but it's a little bit of a polarizing subject where, if you look at politics, there's always polarizing subjects. This is one of those. The good news is there's a way through it. We don't have to put it through legislation. There's not a big ass House or Senate to run it through. A president can't veto it. I guess I could, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not a dictator, and I want to see you succeed. I actually want that feature. I just want it in the right way, I guess is the best way to say that, so that everybody's on the up and up, protected, all that kind of stuff. So you kind of see that those kind of conversations wouldn't even have been entertained in the past where I was at. I mean, it was a non-starter. Every time I brought something up, it did not matter. It was a non-starter. So to go from that to, where those guys are at now, great. I mean, there's progress there, but is it fast enough? Is it keeping up with the times enough? Are they even going to be using the platform to the degree that's going to give them the understanding of what changes need to be made, what concerns need to be addressed security wise, et cetera? I mean, those are very important questions you need to ask yourself. That's what I would be asking. But I know this: if you're in Ring Ads, you've got access to it, and there's a reason why we made it free for everybody for life like that. We want people to have no reason not to see what we're all about, see that difference, experience it, and then put it to use. Like, go have it nothing could make me happier than you using our platform, making tons of money with tons of clients, not having to worry about nitpicking little stuff like this, which means you get to not worry. You get to, especially in a time of great uncertainty right now, that's the last thing you need on your plate, is worrying about, is this legal? Or is he teaching me something that I'm going to have to tiptoe around or be careful with? Or do I need to worry about security, this and that? A lot of that, if not all of it, has been thought through or addressed already, or is currently being addressed. This just happens to be one that particular issue we're going to discuss together. I think it makes the most sense. It's definitely something new for us to do, but I think everybody's going to benefit from that, and I'm excited about that. So anyway, any other? I don't think I missed anything else. I think we're good, right? Everybody's had their day on Zoom. I'm kidding. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Hey, Julian, are you still on? Julian, maybe? Well, maybe he'll see this in the replay. If not, just somebody tag Julian for me in the Facebook group.
I am on it. I am on it. It's just I was muted.
Okay, no worries. It happens. So, hey, Julian, and I don't take this as I know some people got a little upset with your original comment there. Listen, man, I don't take personal offense to it. Here's what I would like to hear from you, though, feedback wise, and I mean this 100%. If you have an idea on specific structure, like if you're maybe it's the structure, because it tends to be, the 3 simple rules to massive success, the how to apply those in daily lessons and that kind of thing. Those, I'm going to be talking about those every time. If you have a specific structure based on how we've done past live streams, please share that with me. If you want to share it publicly, okay. If you want to share it privately inside a support desk, do that, please, because the last thing I want you to feel, like, I noticed you're still on the call, which is great, but the last thing I want you to feel like is like I'm wasting your time. I don't want you to even if I know I'm not, I don't want you to feel that way, for sure. So let me know what it is that I can do structure wise, specifically with the topics that are covered, because I don't want you to feel that way. Okay.
William, it's not that I feel that you need to follow a particular format. My frustration is maybe my type. I like to get straight to the point. And in the past, we've been on calls for 2 hours in live streams, and we've not been able to get all the questions answered in the chat. So I'm thinking maybe there's a hard cutoff point in the live stream in terms of 2 hours. And I just think, well, perhaps if you would just get to the point quickly, and then we can go around things afterwards. It's just that in the past I've chatted, put questions into the chat, they've not been answered. And I'm thinking, well, you're going to get time to get to my question. So that's my concern. It's purely selfish, and it's purely my type, in that if somebody says to you, how are you doing? I say, I'm doing fine. I won't even ask how you're doing, because I just want to get straight into the conversation of what it is that we're on the meeting for.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, typically, and I don't know if you noticed this, the way the format is now, we do the what we're covering, and then normally what we do is we jump into this last couple of streams. We've had some stuff announcement wise to talk about, like COVID challenge. So I'll cover the details of that, and then we jump into the three simple rules. We jump into software access updates, right? Training updates. We jump into support, Facebook groups, live streams, and then we jump into the actual training of the day, if you will. And the training of the day could be, sometimes it'll be just like this, where, you know what, we don't have any pre-order training. I want to help you. If somebody has campaigns they want to optimize, jump on the Zoom with me real quick. We'll do that. And normally that'll be on the live stream, but I've got some audio settings to figure out, obviously. But the point is, you're saying the structure, based on that, you're saying the structure should be more, hey, here's what we're covering today. Cover the training first, and then the three simple rules, and then Q&A, or Q&A in between.
No,
or
it's not that really, William. My frustration, I suppose, is that I would like, I mean, for example, you were explaining about the computer issue, and I thought, well, it's kind of irrelevant to what we need to be discussing. I understand you've had some issues. Just simply say, well, I've had some issues to do with the computer, but it's over with. Now this is what I want you to, this is what I want to discuss today, as opposed to the monitor, the overheating, from one monitor to another, to one computer to another computer, to a third computer as a backup, to everything else. It's like, okay, I get it that you're wanting to get something done, and I understand the difficulty you're going through, but simply saying, well, I've had some difficulties, guys, with computers, but it's all sorted. Now, this is what we want to get into. That, to me, is just how I would approach things. And
let me ask you something.
Yes.
Let me ask you something about that, because that's actually a very important point. I understand your perspective, right? I hear what you're saying. And from that perspective, that sounds boring. That sounds like, get on with it already. When you have a problem, like a significant, because migrating a computer with hundreds of gigs of data and all that stuff, it's not even though Mac has a very simple process, Mac to Mac, it's actually not simple. I had to go and update software and do all the stuff I told you about. Here's the thing. Would you have gained any value from me telling you that at all? Just that way, short and sweet like that? None whatsoever, like zero. All you would gain would have been actually the knowledge that I had some computer issues and they got resolved. Did I oversimplify that? Yes. At what expense? At the expense of me teaching you. At that time, I was talking about the three simple rules to massive success, right? So one of the rules is work consistently, right? And you may have to shift gears and adapt what you're currently doing to maintain that consistency. In other words, I didn't want to migrate my computer over yesterday, but I needed to do that, because if I didn't, then I would not have had any kind of consistency for today and tomorrow. And I need that because Friday's coming up, right? And there's other things that I have to get done and updated. So my point was more of a learning lesson. And I get your perspective. Like, it may sound like I'm just talking about something random or unrelated, but it's more mindset related, which I find, and you may not be one of these people that needs that kind of help, but I find most people that learn from me don't just need to learn how to build the agency or scale the agency. They also need to know how to think like a business owner who can run, who can scale, who can grow. Especially in times of great uncertainty, that's when most people's uncertainty comes out. So I understand your frustration. I'm just trying to understand how to better. Somebody's audio here needs to go. Oh, there we go. I'm just trying to understand better how to not skip over something like that, because that, to me, like teaching a lesson through my own experience and you hearing my frustration in dealing with something and how I dealt with it and why I did that, and what the result of it is, and then how that relates to you in the pay-per-call business. I mean, to me, that's an important lesson, not an unimportant one.
I don't want to minimize the the lessons you're wanting to impart on us. And I appreciate that you have and have always exhibited to me an attitude of caring for us and for our success. I really do appreciate that. There have been some frustrations I've had and you have brought them up in that, for example, when we post something, a question to the group, they're moderated and just keep in control. But once I posted 2 questions, one was approved, one was not. I couldn't understand why the other one wasn't approved. And so I thought to myself, well, he's read both, but he's only approved one. So was it inappropriate to ask that sort of question? And then
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what you asked. There's been so many. If there was only one post, I mean, that'd be different. Can you tell me what you asked? I don't mind if you ask it publicly.
It was to do with setting up a Google tracking number, because Google does allow us to set up tracking numbers as well through their system with regards to getting a cost per action or cost per conversion. And I wanted to know whether I should use Google's tracking number and then divert that to mine, or whether or not I should just bypass it completely. So it was a technical question, as it were.
Then there's no reason for that to be declined. I would say my short answer to that would be maybe it's still pending and I just haven't got to it yet, because I'm not sure when you made that, but I haven't looked at it lately. So my answer to that would be, as long as it's not negative or anything that's, you know, kind of against what we talk about often, then I don't, it's probably still pending. That's my best answer. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, I will go and look. I'll go and look right now and see if it's still pending. And if it is, then you know where you stand. But don't feel too badly about stuff like that. I mean, maybe I just missed it. You know, it could be nothing. Like what you're thinking.
So right? the thinking I was having was that if I was to get the question answered, the best way to ask a question that isn't that gets bypassing the censor, as it were, or the moderation, is to ask it in the live call, because those seem to
Those are great ways. I mean, if you 100% want to make sure that you get your question answered, sometimes, you know what's great about these calls is as long as some of them can be in terms of Q&A, they are Q&A, right? This is entirely Q&A. So we're going on 3 hours now. I don't feel the least bit bad about that part. I just want to make sure the structure is good so that it keeps it engaging for you and you don't feel like I'm telling something, telling a story or teaching a lesson that's not relevant to what you came here to learn today, kind of a thing. Because maybe you only have 45 minutes, you know what I mean?
I came here to learn anything and everything from you I possibly can.
I appreciate that. I don't want you to, again, I'm trying to focus on the format, so that I think I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on improving the format, because what if, because I've seen this before, and I know you probably have too. Some people are like, man, I'm only here for 45 minutes. Because they're here for lunch or from lunch, or they got another appointment they got to go to and didn't count on this today being the 14th for some reason, or the 28th. So I think I'm going to work on the format. I think you're right on that. And I think maybe what I'll do is I'll mix up Q&A and story time. I call it story time. And then I'll do the what we're covering today, training right out of the gate, and just knock it out. And then Q&A and story time will be on the back end of that, kind of mixed in together. I think that'll probably, does that sound better?
It does sound better, especially if somebody is coming to it from the point of view of the recording, that they can get what they need to do quickly. And then if they have the time afterwards to learn a lesson about business and so forth, then that's there. And if they come with a problem that they can ask the question live, that's good too, because that's instrumental for many people. And even if the question is small, it is a mental block. It is a frustration that perhaps have somebody moving forward. So I do appreciate the ability to get those questions answered. And you know what, the questions I asked today were not for immediate use or consumption. They're for things down the road. I'm just looking at the plan ahead, or the roadmap ahead. I don't have an issue with, I know you've said stick to the training, but in my frustration, I have looked at other people showing how to set up campaigns or how to do this, because I'm thinking, well, it's not in the training right now. And every time I click, it says coming soon. There's never, there hasn't been so far a meter to say, well, we're halfway there, we're 3/4 of the way there, it's coming next week. So that, for example, if one was doing a fundraising for a church, you have a little tally to say, okay, how far are we away from reaching our goal? Well, there's nothing there for us to know, well, we're almost there, it's around the corner. And
I think part of that, here's some answers you might actually appreciate then. And by the way, I am looking right at your post that was made. You're asking 2 different questions and then actually a third question, or should the value of the client's customer value say $500, et cetera. So I am looking right at a post that was made from you that just hasn't been approved yet. That's all. So nothing you did was out of line as far as I can read on this post. To answer your question about the training and it's coming soon, to recap, you have access to part 1 and part 2 guides of pay-per-call agency success in 24 hours or less. Those 2 guides are the most underrated guides I've ever seen in my life. And I know who reads the guides because I get analytics, but even more than that, I actually get messages from people who have gone through the guides and be like, those were the most sick guides I've ever seen put together. I don't see comments like that about most everybody else's like PDFs. These are, and here's what's crazy. These PDFs are they're sub 10 pages. Like they're not very long because there are videos included into them and templates and everything. Like everything you need start to finish is actually in those guides. Is it 100% in alignment with some of the updates that are coming in the Ring Ads training? No. Is it 100% in alignment with the direction and what I'm ultimately going to teach you? Yes. And you've had access to that. Actually, everybody's had access to that since September of 2019. Do some updates need to be made? Yes. But those guides are there all the way through basic and advanced optimization. There's a little bit more to those than that. But I'll tell you right now, to make profitable campaigns, to acquire clients, to do everything we're going to do start to finish on the COVID challenge, those guides have it. And you can find them at www.papercallagencysuccess.com. Have to have the www. But they're there. They're also inside the Facebook group here, inside of Ring Ads, under units, resources. And ultimately, when I update those guides, I will, with the newer training, it's not completely out of date is my point. Those guides work. And it's not what everyone else is teaching. It's what I've been teaching.
Those guys are spot on. And I like the brevity, and I like the conciseness, and I like that they get straight to the point. And they're very actionable. I have gone through them. I have implemented them.
Okay.
My only concern with regards to getting my agency up and running is, well, the niche I was going after was kind of shut down. Even if I was to bring calls to them, there's nobody there in order to answer the calls. So I'm sort of waiting on this point. So I have to find clients that are in states that are not shut down, and I haven't done that. So that's my concern.
Okay. And when you say they're shut down, it really makes me wonder what vertical you're in.
I was going after a medical niche, but it's an elective medical niche.
Then yeah, that's definitely going to be closed down. And by the way, elective medical is not something I recommend you start with, just as a heads up. I'm not saying don't do it. I am saying be ready, get ready. It's not going to be the smoothest ride you ever had compared to some of the other verticals that you already know about. You can drive phone calls. It's just right now, especially, I mean, there are verticals right now. Give me an example. Towing. If do you think with the shutdown, a lot of people are around driving around?
Not as many.
Not near as many, right? Guess what? Volume for towing has gone up not down. Do you know why?
I don't.
Take a wild guess.
Um,
When you're stressed, tired, freaked out about mass uncertainty, are you paying attention 100% to what you are doing?
well, I
Nope.
don't know. I mean, I pay attention to driving because it's an important activity in terms of the value of my life. However, if my car was, I mean, I had my car parked and somebody reversed into it and I need some body work done to it. So I understand, auto body work has not been shut down. And I need it.
Well, that's body work. That's body work. I'm talking about strictly towing and roadside, right? Towing and roadside. My point is this. Let me just give you the answers. With towing, you've got people that are distracted by mass change, and that's easily done in the event of someone's death. Like you shouldn't be, if you lose someone close to you, like a father, a mother, a brother, a loved one, whoever it is, if you really loved that person a lot, if you're on the road, I've seen this so many times, and I know you probably have too, now that I'm bringing it up. People have accidents, not just car accidents, but accidents at work because their mind drifted, right? Maybe they started out okay, but their mind drifted. And you have accidents. Accidents that's just one type of tow. You also have the fact that how long have people been shut in, right? So if I had to go out right now, it's been weeks. If I had to go out right now, would my car start? Maybe. Unless I've been out there every couple of days turning the key to make sure that alternator cycles or running around the block a few times or something, right? Like my car may not turn over. The battery may be out. Guess what? Got to call somebody, right? What happens if the battery's good or the alternator dies on me in the middle of the road, right? Emergencies still happen. When tires sit dormant for weeks at a time, or even days at a time, depending on how healthy the tire is. What happens to it when it gets out on the road up to speed? Bam! Blowout sidewall, right? Something you can't even patch. It's got to be completely replaced. There's so many different scenarios is my point. And this is with vehicles that we're in a shutdown mode, and it's had literally no effect, and in some areas a positive effect to the business. That's why I'm saying, and I've always said, even long before we ever had COVID, the four main categories are home, health, legal, and by health I don't mean all medical. I mean things like health insurance, things like life insurance, things that are health-based, dentist-wise. There's all kinds of things like that have an emergency side to it as well. So home, health, legal, and anything with high urgency, want, or need. Now, I'm not saying elective surgery does not have a high need, but let's face it, we live in a we live in a COVID-19 world now, where stuff like this can happen. And when it does, we have to be able to, as businesses, as consumers, just people, we have to be able to adjust. And I mean, so far so good. Look at Zoom. Zoom has popped up with crazy amounts of updates. Everybody's doing Zoom parties and Instagram Live, and you've got delivery services like Postmates and Grubhub who are seeing all-time high registrations from businesses that want to keep their doors open and offer delivery only options. There's so many different adjustments and changes we've had to make already, and we're going to continue to make those. But how easy people forget. This is a perfect time to take advantage of looking at what's working right now, going with that, and knowing the next time around, this is not going to be not only not a problem, but you're going to be sitting very, very pretty. I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you about the vertical selection you've made. Nothing hurts you by the way, as long as you don't need clients right now and you're not in a needy situation, nothing's going to kill you for waiting. I mean, I'm not going to knock you for that, my man. Like, just understand the vertical you're in is going to be affected by certain things like this. And to, you ever heard of the story that, I'm not going to tell you the story, but you ever heard of the story of the the grasshopper and the ant?
No, never heard that. Tortoise and the hare.
Okay.
Grasshopper and the ant.
Okay. Basically, the grasshopper lays around all summer, doesn't store food for the winter. The ant works his butt off storing food all summer for the winter. And the grasshopper comes knocking on the ant's door because he's starving and cold and doesn't have food prepped for the winter, all that. Long story short, right? That is very much the scenario here, where, you know, if you are in that kind of a vertical and you choose to stay in this vertical, totally okay with that. Just be aware you need to be the ant in that story, not the grasshopper. You need to make hay while the sun is shining and be ready in stores wise, in revenue, setting aside money, all that kind of stuff, client expectations, all that needs to be managed properly so that when the winter comes, because it's not a matter of if, right? I mean, they're talking about this could happen again as early as not just a flare up, like flaring back up, but I'm talking about the next strain could happen as early as October, November this year. Not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying it's possible, right? And because it's possible, we should prepare for the eventuality that something like this will happen again. And we need to be more prepared for it. And that's not just on a personal hygiene side. That's not just on a social distancing. I'm talking, we need to be prepared in our businesses for it. We need to be prepared how we do business. Everything, right, is affected by that. So something to think about and prepare for, right?
Yes, yes. I should have more flexibility in the types of verticals I want to go after.
It wouldn't hurt you. Like I said, if you're patient and you're willing to wait for everything to kind of turn back on, I don't think you're going to have any challenges with that because people are going to be hungry. Like you're going to have doctors probably for the first time in a long time be more willing to speak to you than ever about getting people through the door to change the way they look. And here's what's really crazy. COVID, do you think people are overeating or stress eating right now?
I know I've gained a few pounds.
Right. And so if we're talking that kind of elective surgery, you're going to have a lot of fat people, right? A lot of obese people that want that tummy tuck. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's just the way of things. And people kind of miss their spring, not break, but spring fever breakout, if you will. Like some people just like to get out and do the thing or work out and work on their summer bod, right? We kind of missed that, some of them. And what's the supplement to something like that? That's right, elective surgery, right? And by the way, elective surgery, there's some of those places, a lot of those doctors don't just do needle, right? Or not needle, but under the knife. They also do oh shit, what's that? It's for the why am I blanking on the name of it?
The dermatology, the derma fillers and so forth.
Derma fillers, they do fillers. They also, but that's needle.
Cool sculpting and so forth.
Sculpting, they do cool sculpting. They do, what's the thing for the, not cool sculpting, but that treatment that brings out the cellulitis, reduces the cellulitis. Red light is one of them, but there's another one where they like wrap it around the skin and do some kind of a treatment, and it basically pulls the skin away, stretches it so that the cellulitis is reduced, just the appearance of it. There's all kinds of elective surgery and technology that's available opposed to just the needle and just the knife, that are cheaper options even, right? I say cheaper. Some of them are short term, some of them are permanent, but they are definitely cheaper than going under the knife, right? So yeah, there's so many options and so much if you're willing to be patient on that vertical. If you're not or can't afford to be, then yeah, I would definitely say look at another vertical, my man.
Yeah, I'll switch because either way, I'll get experience in running campaigns and client management.
Yes. Well, here's the good news. If you go into another vertical now, can you always expand into this as your second vertical later?
Oh, sure. Yes.
And where will we be later?
My verticals over a period of time, but start with one and master that.
Yes, and then where will we be later? Out of the house, right? Looking for surgery for all the potato chips we ate, right?
Let's hope.
I mean, well, yeah, let's hope. Exactly. I mean, I don't think we'll not ever leave the house again. I mean, that's kind of like Walking Dead scenario. I think it's highly unlikely. It's still in the realm of possibility, but highly unlikely.
Of this, but I really think that this is an overreaction by the government in that
it is.
There've only been 40,000 deaths with this thing, and there have been over 90 or 100,000 deaths from regular flu in the United States or worldwide. And there's never been airlines shut down. There's never been people forced not to go to clubs or bars or anything like that, or forced to be arrested because they're walking too close to somebody, or being told that the police are going to come and pull you out of your house because you have an infection. It's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned, but it's the way it is right now. And we have to adapt, because if we don't, we will not survive.
How crazy is it? Yeah, and by the way, I'm not to get political with anybody either. I mean, I tend to be in agreement with you on all those things. The good news is I look at it as, I mean, the way I live my life, I'm already pretty much socially distanced. So, I mean, I already struggled with the idea of keeping my battery alive in my 4Runner. I don't really, I don't go out, and when I do, I go out to have fun, and since everything is like that is shut down, I just don't go out. And I'm not really, I won't say I'm not affected by that, but I'm very, let's say the effect is very reduced, or significantly reduced compared to most people that are freaking out right now. And that's on the personal side, but on the business side, it's nothing but opportunity if you're working in the right things, or if you've adapted. Did I tell you I made a post on that the other day? I think I did in the last live stream. I made a post on that on my personal wall. If you want to go find that on Facebook, people kept using the word pivot, and I had a conversation about that. It's pretty important. I'd go and look at that and kind of take it for what it's worth. But yeah, it's important for us business-wise to take notice and use this to our advantage, because next time around we'll be able to think of it this way. If you're in a real bad spot right now, that's okay. That's okay, because you have a choice and you can work your way out of it to where the next time something like this goes down, you're able to contribute to the solution as opposed to be affected deeply by the problem. That's the difference in the shift in mindset and the stuff that we work on from a business perspective. Can't do it. Excuse me. You can donate your time. Like right now, everybody can donate their time. You notice that? Everybody's got time on their hands. Nobody's got the money. I say nobody. Most people don't have the money. 16 million plus and counting and unemployed currently in the U.S. And those numbers aren't even really that astronomical. That's like, what is that, 5% unemployment, I think?
No, that's more like 10%.
Something like that.
The workforce is about 150 million when you
Is that right?
Yes, because we have people who are retired and we have children. So only about 150 million people are actually working in terms of the
150
workforce.
Out of 330?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So call it 10%. I mean, 2007, 2008 was 20 plus.
You have the long-term unemployed who are not counted and I think one vertical you missed out, which I think is going to be also very high, is bankruptcy.
Yeah, that'll probably be pretty high.
Whether business or personal.
Yeah, that'll be pretty high for sure, which is actually interesting because guess what? Probably is going to be a great vertical for phone calls.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah.
Just saying.
When
Credit repair,
when they go
right?
back. Yeah.
Credit repair, bankruptcy attorneys. I mean, those are going to be some good verticals. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Maybe if they're not already.
Which would be great for an affiliate of a national campaign, because those companies do tend to, especially credit repair and debt resolution, they work nationally.
Oh, some of them work regionally and locally even. Yeah, run a couple searches. You'll find some local and regional results too. And I guarantee you, they're going to want to snap up every piece of business they can get their hands on, for sure. That's how they always are. What else? The other thing is, shoot. I guess that's it. Let's leave it at that. Massive amounts of opportunity. And by the way, Julian, thank you for clarifying on the process for me. I think that's going to make a difference if I kind of restructure that and help people out for getting the info they need, and then having it in that format where it's just upfront, so that they don't have to go searching. They don't have to go dumpster diving, if you will, to find the content that they're looking for. I think that's important. I think you're right. I also know I used to do timestamps for coaching calls and live streams and stuff like that. At some point, we're going to turn that back on. I'm going to turn that feature back on to where you're going to know by looking at the replay inside of Ring Ads, for example, you're going to know at this minute marker and this hour and second and minute, all that stuff, you're going to know exactly what's talked about where. And I think that will help a lot as well, so that you can just skip forward to the place you want to go.
That's a lot of more work for you, though, and you're ready.
It is right now. Yeah, it is right now, but it is something that's on the books. It's in the back of my mind, is my point, and it will happen. So at some point, that part will get easier. But I think in the meantime, restructuring the process will cut down on the need for that. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you so much. And again, this is a 3-hour call. I wasn't expecting this, and I really do appreciate you taking time to answer everybody's questions.
Always, man. Always. You know that. Except for when my freaking computer takes a shit on me like it did yesterday, which is why it was so important that I changed it over yesterday for being able to do a call like this today. Cool. I think we're good. We made this last call. Let me check the comments. Someone says run out of gas. Yep, that's true. I think you were talking about the towing side, running out of gas. That's another one. If a car sits too long, it's called bad gas. Moisture can get in, not necessarily here in the desert as easily, but other areas of east and the eastern seaboard, southern United States. I mean, there's a lot of humidity. And moisture can get into the gas tank, mix in with the gas, and that's bad gas. Bad gas means car doesn't run worth a shit. Very true. Very true. So there's an addition there. But yeah, thanks guys and gals for tuning in. I know it's been over 3 hours, as Julian said. That's true. Very true. But sometimes not every call is like this. You guys know that. If you look back at the replays and whatnot, some calls are an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. But I think we need to work on the format, the process of that. Friendly reminder to, who was that? Was it Ama? Whoever that was. You know who I'm talking about. She knows who she is. For making the poll post. Be good to see that. I'm excited to get the feedback from everybody on that. I think that's a step forward in the right direction on that. So appreciate that. Carrie coming on, kind of clearing up some stuff. That was good.
Can I ask you a quick question, William?
Go for it. Who's this?
It's Andy in the UK.
Oh, hey.
Is there any, you do, mate? Still here, still holding in. Thanks for this awesome value. Is there anything we should get prepared for Friday in terms of, for this challenge?
Your next steps, what I would do is go back through the stream and look at the next steps slide. It's going to be towards the end of the Facebook part of the live stream, which is already up for replay inside of the group. You should be able to access that. I'm going to come back inside of the replay that I post up inside of Ring Ads. I'm going to make sure this recording is tacked on to the other one. So it's going to be a 3-hour plus kind of thing. Yeah, go and see, look for that slide. I also put copies of slides up inside of units. If you look at the units tab, I was talking to Guy about that earlier, right? In the units tab, you'll find resources, and you'll also find a section called live stream slides or something like that. And I always put copies of the slides that we have so that you can access that. And you're going to find in the last couple of streams, including this one, the next step screen, which has everything you need to do between now and Friday. So that's Andy can work on that. That's you, and Gian can work on that. Anybody else who's kind of not there or not sure if they're not there, that's definitely the place you want to start checking. And that training is up. That's mostly software training, and that training is up. There's a couple of small pieces missing, but not required, that I'm working on getting up this week. But yeah, those are coming.
I'm pretty okay with software and stuff. That's all good from my point of view. I'm just going to get the Ring Ads mirror, and I need to get paying customers, right? So like, if you're sitting there, it's I know it's no guarantee, but if you've got like a sort of rough formula, if you're doing like 4-hour sessions a week, you can get 1 or 2 clients, sort of thing. I know you sort of touched on it earlier. I mean,
yeah,
effort is required to get a paying customer on average. I've got no problem talking to people on the phone.
When you start out, I'll give you the short answer on that. When you start out, your closing rate should average 1 in 7. That's if you're really not good. And haven't studied the script or anything like that. If you've studied the script, you've refined and done some role playing like I've advised in some of the past streams, then you're going to have a better closing rate, like 1 in 5. And keep in mind, hours wise, what that translates to, when you're doing 1 in 4, 1 in 5, you're closing a person an hour. You're closing a client an hour or better. And those conversations are not meant to be, I know it's kind of counterintuitive because coaching calls are 3.5 hours long. Okay. But the sales calls are actually, some of them 18 minutes, 26 minutes, 38 minutes. They're not very long,
Listen to all the Battle of Fort Lauderdale, all them ones. I've listened to them all,
Good. So you've got a very good understanding of what things are supposed to sound like, I guess is the best way to say that. But if you put your focus more on quality over quantity, because that kind of comes back to that same topic, I think that's going to serve you well for sure. Like I instead of focusing on 1,000 RVMs, focus on the quality, not the quantity, and you're going to do very well with that, no doubt.
Okay, how do you quantify the quality? Sorry, so just how do you quantify the terms of quality? You mean like the quality that I put into the phone call with my potential customer, or the
That's
data?
Correct. That's correct. I mean, you could slice somebody with a sledgehammer, or you could needle to the heart, and this is needle to the heart.
Okay.
You can mow somebody down. You can mow them down with a machine gun, or you could sniper. Use a sniper rifle. That's the difference. We're using the sniper approach, the needle to the heart. You don't even see it, but man, it got you. The quality versus quantity. Instead of worrying about 100 conversations or having 100 conversations today, or how many of those 100 you close, focus on the quality of conversation that you're having, one conversation at a time. And at the end of the day, look at your numbers and look for ways to improve, right? Look for ways to improve. So if you notice that you have tons of pitches, but nobody's buying, that you're not asking for the money enough, you're not reassuring them enough, there's not enough sense of urgency there. There's only a few main things that cause that problem. And now that you know, based on the numbers, because you've been tracking everything, you're going to see, oh, I'm pitching like crazy, nobody's buying. that's what my problem is, and you make the course corrections and fix it. And I'll show all this stuff to you guys over the course of the 7-day challenge for sure. Like, you're going to see every aspect of that.
This is what's like missing from my point of view in calls now is you, obviously, because I just love that. You don't want to blow smoke at yours, mate, but like, I've been in sales my entire life, and it's always a streamlined process. I'm a big follower of Jordan Belfort straight line, and you've got to have the pitch, and your pitch works. So like, don't mess with it, just perfect it, do the best you can, and like, I've got something to aim for. If I can start out 1 in 7, and I can get to, I get to 1 in 6 in the week, and I've got 1 or 2 customers, mate, I'll be so happy. I can't even tell you, mate. I
believe it, and that's not only a possibility. It's not like there's one thing to say something's possible. That means it's on the scope, right? It's possible. And then there's another one where it's like dialed in, highly likely. The scenario you just described, if you apply what you're going to learn, is not on the scope. It's not only possible, it's highly likely that you'll achieve that if you apply what you've learned. And I've seen people go from, I've actually worked with people directly and seen indirectly results from people that just self-taught from what I taught them. Like they taught themselves to improve, go from 1 in 7 to 1 in 4 in less than 2 weeks. I've seen people do it in a few days. It just depends on how committed you are to making those quality, creating those quality conversations and focusing on that as opposed to the number of conversations you have. Because I'll tell you right now, like, even the verticals that have smaller number of business owners, like some businesses only have 10,000 or less in the U.S. in the entire U.S. Doesn't matter, does not matter, because if you talk to the people in the right way, with the right stuff, and you're armed with the right knowledge from your market research, and you're giving them you're offering them a product or service that they've never experienced before, even if they've had other lead services, it's not the same, not even close. There's no way they say no to you, and you're going to get a lot of yeses, not more than you get no's. You're still going to get more no's. That's why we follow up, right? That's why we follow up. We always have the no's to follow up with. Do you know how many times? Yeah, exactly. Do you know how many times I've been told no and then followed up with somebody 2 weeks later and they're like, yep. And I'm like, wow, what changed? Had a new baby, or wife's leaving me, or we lost our best lead provider, or it could be a million different disasters. Do you think for a second that your existing client base, if you had one right now prior to COVID, that when COVID happened and all the shutdowns started happening, do you think they would all be on the phone with you? Yes, they would. 100%, because they want to know if you're going to be able to continue to deliver for them, right? And in some verticals, obviously that wouldn't be possible, but many verticals it is possible. It's more than possible. But you'd be one of the first people they're talking to, because you're providing phone calls. They want to know if that's going away or not.
That's what I love about this business model. The way I see it is, you always have to hustle to get on customers. I've had a mortgage business. I lost it all before the credit crunch, and like, if you got something and it's recurring income, I'm starting the month on $2,000, $10,000, $5,000, whatever I can build and scale. I'm not starting from zero. When you own an order book business, like in direct sales, you sold $100,000 of product last month, you got nothing the next day. And also, why are they going to stop? If maybe I've got to do a lot of optimization and learn and hustle a bit and refund a few calls, etc. But once I get that campaign dialed in, I can just take it and then just, take it around the USA sort of thing. Take one campaign and take it to, I don't know.
You can duplicate the shit out of it. That's what you can do with it. Yeah. You can run it everywhere. And here's the other thing. You can teach somebody how to optimize, continually optimize on it, end up expanding into a second vertical, and then start teaching your staff how to expand into new verticals. That's when you teach your business how to grow itself to a level that just, nobody's really ready for that until they're ready for that. But when you get to that level, things change. You know, your entire world opens up because you understand it's actually, you know, it's crazy. And I'll leave us with this because I know we've been going a while. While selling phone calls is great, obviously I believe in it. Obviously you believe in it. It's not what makes this thing run. What makes this thing run is the systems and processes that were built around it to make it run efficiently or as efficiently as possible. So much so that it will run and grow itself without you being present when everything's been implemented. You don't find that often, and when you do, it's something you should really pay attention to. There's no other way to say that, and it's one of the reasons why I'm very not happy with other people taking my intellectual property and continually using it without my permission. That's why there's so much importance on that, is because the lessons you learn from the systems and processes you build in this model, from what I'm teaching you, you would actually be able to apply that across any other business you ever start. You could actually start building your own set of systems and processes no matter what business you're in. And I've given many examples of that in the past. I'm not going to do that right now. Maybe I'll cover another one on another stream, but I tend to talk about my past life insurance experience as an agent. I've been an agent a couple times and enjoyed it. And the reason I enjoyed it was because I simplified and processed, made processes out of a lot of the busy work and crap work of the job, and got to spend more time with people and actually doing the business as opposed to managing the business. Had a lot of that streamlined. Anyway, conversation for another time.
Okay.
But,
thanks,
appreciate all of you. You're welcome, my man. Welcome. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for tuning in. I can't believe we still have basically everybody. Yes.
William,
yes.
One last question. What? Just a reminder, man, to double check what specific training must we focus on?
You're going to see a slide called Next Steps. Andy knows the deal. If you get with Andy, he'll point you in the right direction. I always have copies of my coaching calls. I always have slide copies inside the group, and you're going to find one called Next Steps. And if you look at that, it's going to lay out exactly piece by piece what you need to do, and just get that done. If you have that done or mostly done, then you're going to be ready to rock and roll, both of you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, William.
You're welcome. You're welcome, my man. All right, guys. I appreciate you all being here and spending the time with me. Thank you for your input. That is much appreciated. Maybe that's not said enough by me, but I really do appreciate that. And it does make things better for everybody, which means I'm happy, and ultimately everybody else is going to be happier with those changes and improvements. So thank you all for that, everybody, for that. Appreciate that. And we'll catch you guys on the next stream, which is going to be the 28th, 14th and 28th. And then we have the COVID challenge coming up this Friday. Get ready for that. That'll actually technically be the next stream for everybody. But yeah, 7 days. Let's do this thing. Let's get prepped and make things happen. And then the 28th will be kind of like our follow-up / recap, probably a good follow-up series there on that next session that we do there. So that said, thanks for being with me, and stay safe. Like I said at the beginning of the call, do what you can for you and your family. Know that this is a great time to be in this business, and if there hasn't ever been a better one. And appreciate all of you, and I'll see you guys on the next stream. All right. Bye for now.
All right. Wow.